Chapter 758. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. Please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels will be read for free. All the novels that can't be found online will be available here. Gu Jiao slept for 4 hours after getting drunk, and the sky was already dark. The Qilin Hall was brightly lit. Xiao Heng had been reading books in the library for the whole day. He was so engrossed that he forgot to eat and sleep. Only now did he feel hungry. He didn't have a good appetite, so the kitchen made him delicious egg soup, a few special snacks from the State Preceptor Hall, and a plate of fresh fruits to appease his appetite. Xiao Heng sat down and was ready to eat. Little Jing Kong was taking a bath in the house. Because he was too active in the past 2 days, it was determined that he didn't have any PTSD, so he had to bathe himself again. Although Xiao Heng would still bathe him again, the strength was different. It was impossible to let little Jing Kong take a bath quietly. He used to be the little monk who was the best at chanting scriptures in the temple. Although he didn't chant scriptures anymore, he had an interest that made him more intoxicated. He tied strange strips of cloth around his body, struck strange poses, and began to sing. Hawthorn au pair ba cherry au pair, bring them all to wash, bring them all to wash. If you don't wash them all, I'll have diarrhea. Xiao Heng, who had just picked up a hawthorn, was speechless. Xiao Heng put down the hawthorn decisively and didn't touch the rest of the fruits. He looked at the snacks on the plate. The snacks were fried, and he didn't know what the ingredients were. In short, they looked crispy and golden, and there was even sauce. He picked up a piece with his chopsticks and took a small bite. Ka. Just the sound alone was enough to whet one's appetite. Xiao Heng thought, "Oh, what is this made of? It's so crispy." Little Jing Kong finished singing Hawthorn and Pear, and started to sing the next song affectionately. Dreams are so precious, chicken dung is crispy. Xiao Heng was speechless. Little Jing Kong changed his tune in a second. Hot pot and barbecue in the toilet, once I wake up I'll lick it, F***CK heartless. Xiao Heng, who had just licked a mouthful of sauce. A quarter of an hour later, the Qilin Hall was filled with the angry voices of little Jing Kong. "Ah! Bad brother-in-law is here. He's coming with a feather duster. Run quickly." It was another chaotic night. The solemn Grand Preceptor Hall seemed to have become a scene of fireworks in the mortal world, because of the quarrel between the adult and the child. 3 days later, on the first day of the 7th lunar month, today's competition was the true first round of the selection. The location was still the Han family's Black Wind camp. A total of 44 cavalrymen had advanced to the next round. In the preliminary round, 6 would advance to the next round, and 2 would advance to the next round. Outsiders were not allowed to watch this kind of selection in the military camp. Only the soldiers of the military camp, or those who were related to the selection, could appear at the scene. Xiao Heng took the carriage and sent Gu Jiao to the entrance of the barracks. He watched as Gu Jiao rode the Black Wind King into the barracks before letting the carriage leave. However, he didn't go far. He found an inconspicuous shade and waited. Not far away, another carriage was parked. Dukin and Second Master Jing sat in the carriage. "The weather is so hot. I told you not to come, but you just had to come," Second Master Jing muttered. Dukin didn't say anything. The main thing was that he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to. He quietly waited here, waiting for Gu Jiao to come out, regardless of whether she succeeded or not. Gu Jiao didn't come early. Everyone else had arrived. A soldier came to her to take the number plate and hang it on the bulletin board. "Can I go and take a look?" Gu Jiao asked a soldier passing by. The soldier said, "Yes." Gu Jiao walked over. The number plates were almost full. It seemed that everyone had arrived. The first number plate belonged to Gu Changqing. He used the name of Han Ziyu, a collateral descendant of the Han family. The other number plate belonged to Yang Wu, the younger brother of Yang family head. Yang family head was a true master. She just didn't know how strong his younger brother was. Daoist Qingfeng was Heavenly Stem third brother. His opponent was the son of the Dong family. Gu Jiao looked at her and Mu Qingchen's numbers. The two of them were really lucky. Her opponent was from the Han family. What kind of ill-fated relationship was this? And Mu Qingchen was going to fight someone from the Wang family. They were fighting their own people. They had really exhausted their strength too early. There were still 7 or 8 number plates that hadn't been hung up. Gu Jiao didn't see 5th Master Han's name. He probably hadn't come yet. He's Heavenly Stem 7th brother. Gu Changqing walked over. There was some distance between the two. At first glance, it seemed that they didn't have any interactions. Earth Stem 6th brother. Gu Jiao's gaze fell on the Earth Stem 6th brother's position. There was already a number plate there. Su Chen? Gu Changqing pretended to look at the number plate and said in a low voice, Su Yuan's younger brother, Mu Qingchen's uncle. Is he powerful? Gu Jiao asked. It said that he's a master. 5th Master Han was originally planning on swapping numbers with someone else, Gu Changqing said. Gu Jiao murmured. Was he afraid that he couldn't beat Su Chen? Gu Changqing said. No, he wanted to beat you and eliminate you. Strictly speaking, it wasn't possible to casually swap numbers in this kind of selection. However, this was the Han clan's home ground, and Gu Jiao had coincidentally drawn a member of the Han clan. Gu Jiao had the same idea. She wanted to eliminate 5th Master Han. She asked regretfully, then why didn't he swap numbers? Someone walked over. Gu Changqing waited for that person to pass before saying, because he discovered that your opponent was Han Xiaoyu. This person is a member of the Han clan's side branch. He didn't come from a good background, so he didn't join the main clan. However, he is extremely powerful. He fought his way out of the underground arena, and is ranked in the top 20. So that's how it was. 5th Master Han was planning on taking care of Su Chen himself, and having Han Xiaoyu take care of Gu Jiao. That's pretty good, Gu Jiao said. That's pretty good, Gu Changqing said as well. The two of them exchanged knowing glances. Your new armor is pretty good, Gu Changqing said. Gu Jiao nodded. On the battlefield, the sound of a gong rang out. Gu Changqing wielded a long sword and urged his horse to charge at his opponent, Yang Wu. No one expected that the first group of opponents would be so powerful. Gu Changqing's swordsmanship had reached perfection, and Yang Wu's large blade was not to be outdone. Blade light and sword shadows flashed as killing intent filled the air. In an instant, they had exchanged tens of blows. Yang Wu's martial arts were slightly inferior to his older brother, the Yang clan head. However, in front of the younger generation, he still had an advantage. His inner strength was abundant, and his blade techniques were exquisite. The only thing that he was inferior to Gu Changqing in was his mount. However, he used his boundless inner strength to make up for this shortcoming. Yang Wu arrogantly said, Brat, you are not my opponent. Just admit defeat. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will die without a complete corpse. Today's fight had a life and death agreement. In other words, they could kill. The Yang clan had coveted the Han clan's military power for a long time. They had always killed the Han clan's disciples. He chopped down with his blade, and Gu Changqing blocked it with his sword. What a powerful inner strength. Sand and stones flew all around and dust rose. Gu Changqing's mount could not withstand Yang Wu's inner strength. Once the mount was injured, the rest of the fight would be dangerous. Gu Changqing suddenly leaned back, grabbed Yang Wu's large blade, and stabbed at Yang Wu's waist. Yang Wu could not pull out his large blade, so he could only use his other hand to deflect Gu Changqing's blade. Now was the time. Gu Changqing swept his long leg and kicked Yang Wu's head. The huge force kicked him down from the horse's back. Yang Wu fell to the ground and was eliminated. The first fight had been so exciting that the second fight seemed ordinary. The third fight was between Taoist Qingfeng and the son of the Dong clan. Seeing Taoist Qingfeng fight, the audience was interested again. However, Taoist Qingfeng was not interested in being watched. He knocked the son of the Dong clan off his horse with one move. Everyone was speechless. Gu Jiao rubbed her chin. No wonder he was able to tie with Liao Chen. He is really strong. Luck played a part in this fight. If they had been matched with an opponent like Taoist Qingfeng, they would have been defeated. The son of the Dong clan was not very good at martial arts, but he was not the weakest either. At least in the next 3 fights, no one was better than him. When it was close to noon, it was Gu Jiao and Black Wind King's turn to fight. Yesterday, this man and his horse had left a very deep impression on everyone. Therefore, everyone had high hopes for them from the beginning. That was until they saw Han Xiaoyu riding his Black Wind cavalry. It's Han Xiaoyu. It's really him. Who is Han Xiaoyu? You don't even know Han Xiaoyu? He's the only collateral descendant who lives in the Han clan's main house. He's a lieutenant in the Black Wind camp, and is in charge of the cavalry's training. He looks very young. He's not even 24 years old. He's the youngest and most promising person after the son of the Han clan. He doesn't come from a high family, so he must be very talented to have achieved what he has today. Then Xiao Lulang is done for. Yeah, he was unlucky. Of all the people he could have met, he just had to meet Han Xiaoyu. Everyone felt sorry for Gu Jiao. Even with the Black Wind King, the gap between this young man and the genius Han Xiaoyu was not something a horse could make up for. Moreover, Han Xiaoyu had participated in the Black Wind King's training, so he knew the Black Wind King very well. Han Xiaoyu rode his horse toward Gu Jiao and the Black Wind King. Although the Black Wind King had a powerful aura, Han Xiaoyu knew how to suppress the Black Wind King's aura, because he had trained him before. His Black Wind horse did not show any fear or retreat. He stopped 10 meters away, holding his silver spear, and coldly looked at the young man in red. You're Xiao Lulang? I've heard of you. There are many rumors about you. Gu Jiao said. Oh, I've never heard of you. I'm sorry. Han Xiaoyu said coldly. The son of the Han clan is injured because of you. I'll settle this with you today. It's not too late for you to beg for mercy. Kneel down and kowtow 3 times, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, you won't even have the chance to admit defeat. I'll kill you. Gu Jiao had a red tasseled spear wrapped in cloth on her back. She was not in a hurry to take out her weapon. Instead, she looked at Han Xiaoyu and said, Then let's kill. Take out your weapon. You're not worthy. The gong sounded. Han Xiaoyu spurred his horse and thrust out his spear. A normal horse would have turned around and dodged when faced with such a strong killing intent. However, the Black Wind King did not dodge. Gu Jiao pulled the reins and clamped her legs on the horse's belly, urging the Black Wind King to accelerate at full speed. The surrounding cavalrymen were in an uproar. Is he crazy? Is he sending the Black Wind King to its death? Han Xiaoyu is most proficient with the spear. With this spear, the Black Wind King's head will be pierced. Does he even know how to fight? This is a taboo. The Black Wind King had also been trained to evade in the past, but this time, it tried its best to restrain its muscle memory. It trusted Gu Jiao wholeheartedly. Gu Jiao told it to charge, so it charged forward bravely. It raised its speed to the extreme, so fast that it could only be seen as a blur. Han Xiaoyu frowned. Xiao Lulang purposely let the Black Wind King die in exchange for a chance to attack me at close range to win this round? Xiao Lulang wants to kill me. Han Xiaoyu's eyebrows twitched. He immediately switched from offense to defense. Gu Jiao's lips curled up. Boss jump. She pulled the reins and the Black Wind King jumped high into the air. What kind of move was this? Han Xiaoyu was already prepared to defend, but the Black Wind King jumped over his head? Han Xiaoyu immediately changed his move. He raised his spear and thrust it at the Black Wind King's exposed belly. This spear had to pierce the Black Wind King's intestines. But to Han Xiaoyu's surprise, the young man on the horse suddenly fell down. His soft waist bent at an incredible angle, and he hung upside down from the saddle, using his chest to block the spear for the Black Wind King. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Han Xiaoyu also sucked in a breath of cold air. It was not because of Gu Jiao's difficult move, but because his spear did not pierce the opponent's armor. How could this be? Gu Jiao had already tested it in the State Teacher Palace. Jing Yinin's armor could not even be pierced by Yi Qing's sword and qi. Gu Jiao enjoyed the shock in his eyes. In terms of martial arts, she, who had only recovered 40% of her strength, was not as good as Han Xiaoyu. But her equipment was strong. Come on, let's compete. Han Xiaoyu knew something was wrong and hurriedly pulled back, but it was already too late. Gu Jiao grabbed his spear, lowered her body, and pressed down on Han Xiaoyu's saddle to pry up the spear. I don't need to pry up the earth, but prying you is enough. Han Xiaoyu was directly sent flying. He simply did not understand how he flew out. He whistled in the air, and his mount dashed over to catch him, only to be kicked away by the Black Wind King in a domineering manner. Han Xiaoyu finally landed on the ground in a sorry state. Meanwhile, Gu Jiao let out a long sigh of relief and sat back down on the broad back of the Black Wind King's horse. Advance to the next round, Xiao Lulang. Digression, last day of the double event. If you have a monthly ticket, hurry up and vote. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that cannot be found on the internet are all here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_8964286/1066356330. HTML Genius memorized this site's address. www.zhhbqg.com Bkuj mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 759. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Jiao's match was after Taoist Qingfeng's. It was another match that left everyone dumbfounded. What was going on? How did Han Xiaoyu fly out? Did you see it clearly? Cavalry A asked Cavalry B. I didn't. Did you see it clearly? Cavalry B asked Cavalry C. Cavalry C. I didn't see it either. On a high platform behind the crowd, Han Lei and fifth grandfather Han silently looked at Xiao Lulang, who rode his horse to the edge of the battlefield. Fifth grandfather Han said, "Big brother, no wonder Year was defeated by this kid so many times. He does have some tricks up his sleeve." Han Lei's expression was serious. What happened to Han Xiaoyu just now? I didn't feel any fluctuation of internal energy from that kid. How did he send Han Xiaoyu flying? Which sex martial art did he use that move from? Fifth grandfather Han's silver hair shone under the hot sun. His expression was as cold as his hair color. His gaze fell on the youth who was riding his horse. There were many disciples of aristocratic families on the battlefield. He looked ordinary, but he could be easily spotted in the crowd. "It's not martial arts. It's just a small trick," he said. Han Lei frowned. He didn't understand. A small trick? Fifth grandfather Han said, "Big brother, do you still remember the catapult?" Han Lei put his hands behind his back and nodded. "I remember. It's one of the war chariots used to attack cities. It's very destructive, and can be used to attack city gates and walls. It can also be used to attack the soldiers guarding the city. Could it be that he just..." Fifth grandfather Han nodded. "That's right. He used Han Xiaoyu as a rock and pried him out. He understands the logic, but very few people can create such an environment and opportunity in close combat. From the moment he entered the battlefield, he started calculating the attack distance, the height of his jump, the angle of his waist, and even the speed of Han Xiaoyu's spear. He has a clear picture in his mind." Han Lei said, "I still don't understand." Fifth grandfather Han said, "Big brother, you don't need to understand. Big brother, you just need to know that this kid is a genius." Han Lei turned to look at fifth grandfather Han, and smiled ambiguously. "You even know how to praise people?" Fifth grandfather Han continued, "But geniuses also need a bit of luck. If it wasn't for the armor he was wearing, he would have died under Han Xiaoyu's spear." Han Lei's gaze once again fell on the young man. The young man was dressed in red, and was clad in bright clothes. His aura was as high as the heavens, and even the children of aristocratic families could not compare to him. Han Lei frowned. "I noticed it too." "What kind of armor is that? How can it be so hard?" Fifth Master Han asked, "Big brother, do you still remember Xianyuan Li's armor? I'm talking about his best suit." Han Lei was reminded of a certain memory and frowned slightly before saying, "I remember. Back then, he relied on that armor to infiltrate the Jin nation's enemy camp alone, and rescued the captured monarch. But after he was defeated and died, we didn't find that armor. He was wearing ordinary armor. You can't be thinking that Xiao Liulang's armor is the same as Xianyuan Li's, right? It doesn't look like it." Fifth Master Han said, Maybe it was made of the same material, or maybe it was made by melting down Xianyuan Li's armor. Han Lei sighed. 15 years ago, if Xianyuan Li didn't change out of that armor, he might not have died so quickly. Fifth Master Han said calmly, his life and death alone can't change the overall situation. The Xianyuan family's defeat is destined. Han Lei did not refute this point. That's true. With the appearance of the Emperor's star, how could the monarch keep the Xianyuan family alive? It's a pity that the armor didn't fall into the hands of our Han family. Let's talk about the selection this time. Xiao Lulang is a tough one. You didn't meet him in the first round, but it might not be the case in the next round. Gu Jiao had already ridden to the spectator area. The Black Wind King's aura prevented people from entering, leaving him a comfortable space. Fifth Master Han looked at Gu Jiao and said, he's not my match. Han Lei turned around and patted Fifth Master Han's shoulder with a smile. Don't underestimate him, fifth brother. Han Lei looked at Gu Jiao and said seriously, don't worry, big brother. I won't underestimate him. If I meet Xiao Lulang, even if I know he's not my match, I'll still do my best. Gu Jiao's next match was Mu Qingchen. His opponent was Wang Su's younger brother, Wang Yi. According to seniority, he had to call him uncle. Wang Yi smiled. Don't be afraid of me just because I'm your elder. Mu Qingchen held his sword and cupped his hands. I'll do my best. Please advise me, Uncle Wang. Wang Yi retracted his smile and pulled out his scimitar. He said majestically, then let me see if your martial arts have improved in the past few years. With the sound of the gong, the two of them charged at each other on their horses. Mu Qingchen's weapon was a sword, while Wang Yi's was a scimitar. It was said that the sword countered the scimitar and the scimitar countered the spear, but that was not the case. Every weapon in a fight had its own advantages and disadvantages. It all depended on how the weapon was used. Wang Yi used a domineering scimitar, which could suppress his opponent in an instant. Mu Qingchen's swordsmanship focused on swiftness and lightness. Mu Qingchen's sword could be easily blocked by Wang Yi's scimitar. However, if Wang Yi's scimitar came down, Mu Qingchen might not be able to block it. In order to avoid being hit by Wang Yi's attacks, Mu Qingchen attacked Wang Yi as soon as he entered the arena. He didn't use any of his power-type moves such as slashing, and stabbing. All of his moves were quick and tricky moves that were impossible to guard against. Wang Yi was dazzled. He couldn't use his strength. In the end, Mu Qingchen stepped on the pedal and jumped up. He flipped in the air and cut the leather of Wang Yi's saddle. Mu Qingchen then slashed the back of the horse with his sword. The horse was startled. It raised its front hooves and rushed forward. Wang Yi's body tilted, and he slid down from the horse's back along with the saddle. In the next second, Mu Qingchen landed on his horse and grabbed his arm. Uncle Wang Si. Wang Yi steadied himself and looked at Mu Qingchen with amusement. He patted Mu Qingchen's horse and said while panting, I lost. I admit defeat. Mu Qingchen got off the horse and put away his sword. He cupped his hands and bowed like a junior. Uncle Wang Si, you let me win. Wang Yi waved his hand. Okay. I didn't want to come. But since you defeated me, you can't lose to anyone else. You have to prove to me that I didn't lose to you. Mu Qingchen narrowed his eyes with a complicated expression. Yes, there were 3 more groups. However, one of the cavalrymen of Heavenly Stemgung 7 was in trouble and couldn't come to the arena in time. Generally speaking, this kind of situation could be dealt with as forfeit. However, Fifth Master Han was generous and said that he was willing to wait for his opponent. And now he was waiting. He's coming. Who's coming? Fifth Master Han's opponent. It's him. Gu Jiao rode on Black Wind King's back and listened to their conversation. Who is it? Why are you reacting so strongly? It's Nangong Jing, the first daughter of the Nangong family. Hearing this, Gu Jiao grunted and looked over with interest. Sure enough, she saw a woman in armor riding a horse towards the battlefield. Nangong Jing, the first daughter of the 3rd branch of the Nangong family. She was 17 this year and had good martial arts skills. Wait, I don't remember her being in the cavalrymen yesterday. Nangong Jing rode his horse to the platform where 5th grandfather Han and Han Lei were. He looked up at the two and said, My father has something to do and can't come. Can I fight in his place? She couldn't fight according to the rules. Otherwise, what if everyone asked for help? Fifth grandfather Han looked at her condescendingly and said, "Okay." Nangong Jing said, "Please." Fifth Master Han walked down the stage at a moderate pace. Gu Jiao touched her chin. She had always wondered why Fifth Master Han's hair turned white at such a young age. Fifth Master Han didn't ride his own black demon horse. Instead, he rode an ordinary black wind rider. Nangong Jing frowned and asked, "Fifth Master Han, why didn't you use your own horse? Are you looking down on me?" Fifth Master Han said, "Miss Nangong, you're overthinking. I thought that no one from the Nangong family would come today, so I asked someone to bring my horse back to my residence. If I went back to get it, I'm afraid I'll have to make you wait." The content of his words was polite, but his expression and tone were completely different. Nangong Jing was furious. She said coldly, "Why aren't you hitting the gong?" The examiner coughed and hit the gong. Nangong Jing's weapons were dual swords, while Fifth Master Han was barehanded. When Nangong Jing galloped toward Fifth Master Han didn't move at all. Nangong Jing's martial arts weren't on the same level as Fifth Master Han's, so she couldn't hurt him. Before her swords could touch Fifth Master Han's hair, Fifth Master Han used his internal energy to knock her off her horse. Her horse seemed to be greatly frightened. It raised its front hooves and was about to step on her. Fifth Master Han casually grabbed Nangong Jing and pulled her up from the ground. Nangong Jing's face turned pale. She hugged his arm tightly and jumped into his embrace. Everyone's expression changed. It can't be right? In public, the Nangong family's daughter and Fifth Master Han. This in a place where no one could see. Nangong Jing's eyes turned cold. She hugged Fifth Master Han and fell down. She was planning to perish together with Fifth Master Han and get him out of the game. In order to eliminate Fifth Master Han, she even sacrificed her reputation as a girl. Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Ah yes. A kid from the Nangong family advanced. Everyone despised this behavior. This vicious woman. She used a dirty trick. It's over, it's over." They fell down. Ouch! The two of them fell off their horses. Nangong Jing held onto Fifth Master Han tightly and sneered. "Let's go to hell together, Master Han." Fifth Master Han's expression was calm. His thin lips moved slightly. "You're happy too early." Nangong Jing's expression froze. Fifth Master Han pried open one of her hands and slapped her. Under the reaction of the force, Fifth Master Han successfully returned to the saddle. Nangong Jing fell heavily to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and glared at Fifth Master Han fiercely. "You knew that I was going to scheme against you?" Fifth Master Han said coldly, "Yes." Nangong Jing frowned. "Then why did you?" Fifth Master Han sneered. "If you want to scheme against me, you have to pay a price, right?" After today, Nangong Jing's reputation would be completely ruined. If she could eliminate the biggest competitor for the Nangong family's disciples, her sacrifice would be worth it. But now her sacrifice was in vain. Gu Jiao had a new understanding of Fifth Master Han. He was truly a ruthless man. He didn't even care about a beauty like Nangong Jing. The next 3 rounds weren't that amazing, and the next round didn't have a number plate. After watching, Gu Jiao went to the stable to feed Black Wind King. There was still a one-on-one duel in the afternoon. They couldn't leave the camp until everyone finished. At this moment, everyone thought of eating by themselves. They left the horses to their servants. When Gu Jiao came with Black Wind King, there weren't many people in the stable. Gu Chongqing also walked over with his Black Wind King. He pretended to feed the horse and said to Gu Jiao calmly, "There's a sand table simulation in the afternoon. You can draw lots after entering the arena." Gu Jiao first checked the feed in the stable. After making sure there was nothing wrong with it, she fed Black Wind King. "There are 11 people. What about the lone one?" Gu Chongqing said, "There's a direct promotion. It depends on who gets it." "Can it be decided internally?" Gu Jiao asked. If it could be decided internally, it would definitely be a member of the Han family. Gu Chongqing shook his head. "No. It's a sand table simulation. Everyone's there. There's no chance to tamper with it." Gu Jiao nodded. Oh, Gu Chongqing said. After the sand table simulation, there's only one round left. It's a 300-mile ride. The one in the afternoon is very important. This was the only round that didn't use mounts. There was no need to use force. It was a battle of strategy. Just because someone was good at martial arts didn't mean they were good at leading troops. Gu Jiao had fought before, but her commander was Tang Yueshan. She didn't have much of an advantage in this aspect. As far as Gu Chongqing knew, all the contestants who advanced were good at military strategy. Even Priest Qingfeng had read military books before becoming a monk. Why don't I try it with you? Gu Chongqing said. Okay. Gu Jiao agreed. Gu Chongqing broke off 2 branches and gave one to Gu Jiao. He drew a sketch on the ground. This is a well-fortified city. It's easy to defend and hard to attack. It has 20,000 soldiers, but the provisions in the city can only last for 3 days. The enemy has 80,000 soldiers. The enemy's counselor suggested that the enemy's commander should attack the city's granary at night and burn their provisions. This battle will collapse. Will you be the attacker or the defender? Wasn't this the Battle of Guandu? Yuan Shao led 80,000 soldiers to attack Cao Cao, who only had 20,000 soldiers. Su suggested burning Cao Cao's provisions. However, Yuan Shao didn't listen and locked Su up. After that, Su joined Cao Cao and helped Cao Cao defeat Yuan Shao's 80,000 soldiers with 20,000 soldiers. I'll be the defender, Gu Jiao said. She was familiar with this part. Gu Chongqing nodded. Okay. My counselor suggested that I burn your provisions. I took his suggestion and led 500 soldiers to burn your granary. Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao said without changing her expression. This doesn't count. Let's do it again. I'll be the attacker. I'll take the suggestion of burning your provisions. Gu Chongqing said, I've already set up a trap for your 500 elite soldiers. I'll pretend to be your soldiers and head to your camp at night to burn down your supply route. Gu Jiao. Somewhere in the camp, Han Lei and 5th grandfather Han sat on the ground. There were sumptuous dishes on the table in front of them. 5th grandfather Han didn't eat meat, so the table looked sumptuous but was actually full of vegetables. Han Lei said, military strategy is your strength. There shouldn't be any problems with the sand table deduction in the afternoon, right? 5th grandfather Han slowly picked up 2 grains of rice with his chopsticks. Which level is the problem? Han Lei laughed. That's right. My 5th brother is smarter than anyone else. He's good at both civil and military matters. Which one can stop him? Your Majesty wants to use this method to make us hand over the Black Wind Cavalry. You're underestimating us too much. 5th grandfather Han ate quietly without saying anything. Han Lei sighed. 5th brother, if you weren't poisoned, the family head position would have been yours. 5th grandfather Han picked up a piece of vegetable and said, Big brother is the eldest son. Han Lei looked at him and said, Father wanted you to be the family head back then. 5th grandfather Han said calmly, I'm not interested in the family head position. Han Lei smiled. That's true. You have your own interests. As he spoke, he thought of something and frowned. That Xiao Lulang is full of tricks. We can't let him enter the final round. 5th grandfather Han looked at Han Lei coldly. Big brother, are you worried that my black demon horse won't be able to outrun the old Black Wind King? Han Lei smiled. That's not what I meant. Eat, eat. 5th grandfather Han ate half a mouthful of vegetable. If I face Xiao Lulang in the afternoon, I'll eliminate him. 2 hours passed. In the stable, Gu Jiao ate dried meat and snacks while listening to Gu Chongqing. Gu Chongqing was forced to teach Gu Jiao a lot of military strategy. He talked until his throat was smoking. Have you memorized everything? Gu Jiao's cheeks puffed up. Yes. Gu Chongqing wiped the sweat on his forehead. If you really remember, as long as you don't face Taoist priest Qingfeng and 5th grandfather Han, you should be able to handle it. Gu Jiao burped. Oh, Gu Chongqing said. Alright, it's time. Let's go. Gu Jiao stood up. Gu Chongqing seized the time to test her learning. If there's a foggy day again, how should we fight? Gu Jiao asked. The empty fort strategy? Gu Chongqing's mouth twitched. The sand table deduction was held in a spacious tent, and the drawing of lots was also held here. From 1 to 5, there were 2 numbers. Only number 6 was single. Number 6, number 6, number 6, number 6. The young master of the Nangong family said number 6 100 times in his mind and drew a number. Number 1. He sighed in disappointment. Who's number 1? Oh, it's me, Taoist priest Qingfeng said politely. The young master of the Nangong family rolled his eyes and fainted on the spot. Gu Chongqing and the son of the Dong family drew number 3. Mu Qingchen and the cousin of the Mu family drew number 4 at the same time. Mu Qingchen was simply going against the tide when he went out. He either fought against the Wang family or the Mu family. They were all on his side. Fifth grandfather Han drew number 1. Only Gu Jiao and the son of the Feng family hadn't drawn a number yet. The remaining 2 numbers in the box were number 1 and number 6. Everyone's eyes fell on the 2 of them. One of them would be extremely unlucky, and the other would be extremely lucky. The cavalrymen on the side didn't know whether to be glad that they drew the number in advance and didn't have to fight against fifth grandfather Han, or angry that they didn't wait patiently until the end. Maybe they could directly advance. The son of the Feng family suddenly became a little nervous. You first or me first? Whatever. I'm fine with either, Gu Jiao said. The son of the Feng family gritted his teeth. Then, I'll go first. Okay. Gu Jiao raised her hand and motioned for him to go first. The son of the Feng family reached out his hand to the box, but he suddenly retracted his hand when he approached the hole. Wait. Let's wait. Gu Jiao looked at him strangely. The son of the Feng family took a deep breath. You first. Okay. Gu Jiao reached out her hand. The son of the Feng family glared. Wait. I'll go first. Gu Jiao was a little annoyed. She punched him in the head and slammed him on the table. Are you going to draw or not? The son of the Feng family, who couldn't fight back, reached out his hand in grievance. He went into the hole in the box and took out a small wooden plate with a number engraved on it. There was only 1 wooden plate left in the box. Gu Jiao didn't need to take it. She directly asked the son of the Feng family, "What's your number?" Everyone's eyes fell on the small wooden plate that the son of the Feng family was holding tightly. The son of the Feng family closed his eyes. I don't dare to look. Give it to me, Gu Jiao said. The son of the Feng family. You're not allowed to change, Gu Jiao. Then you see for yourself. The son of the Feng family. You see for me. I'll see for you. Fifth grandfather Han casually walked over and pinched the son of the Feng family's wooden plate with his slender fingertips. The son of the Feng family nervously opened his eyes and looked at him. Fifth grandfather Han gave him a look that told him to let go. He was so scared that he let go. Fifth grandfather Han held the wooden plate in his hand and looked at Gu Jiao with a smile. Xiao Lulang, what do you think of your luck? Gu Chongqing's eyes turned cold. Please don't be number 1. My name is poisonous. My luck has always been bad. I choke when drinking water, I can't hide from the rain, and I fall when walking on the road. There are only unlucky things that you can't think of, but there is no unlucky thing that I can't do. Gu Jiao finished honestly. She took out the small wooden plate from the box, looked at it and sighed. Sure enough. Fifth grandfather Han couldn't help but laugh arrogantly and playfully. Gu Jiao also laughed. God can't stand it, let my luck change. Fifth grandfather Han's smile froze. Gu Jiao's fingertips moved and revealed the wooden plate. Number 6. Xiao Lulang, advance. Digression. In order to not let you guys get stuck, I stayed up all night to finish this plot. Please give me 2 monthly tickets. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels can be read for free. There are novels with connotations that can't be found online here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_896428266/1066173777. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg. Com Bikuga mobile reading website. M. ZHHBQG. Com. Chapter 760. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more frequently. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all available here. Fifth grandfather Han clenched his fists and a murderous look flashed in his eyes. He actually didn't care if Xiao Lulang advanced or not. Even if he advanced, Xiao Lulang wouldn't be able to pass the last round. However, it didn't feel good to be fooled. This kid called Xiao Lulang was a very infuriating person. Outside the tent, Han Lei shook his head slightly at fifth grandfather Han and used his eyes to tell him not to be impulsive. This wasn't a place to fight. It wouldn't be good if he was disqualified. Fifth grandfather Han closed his eyes and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He calmed himself down and said to Gu Jiao, "It's just a futile effort." Gu Jiao nodded in agreement. "You're right. It's just a futile effort. Hurry up and admit defeat. Let little brother Feng compete with me in the next round." Feng Ling was so scared that he shuddered. In addition to the 11 selected candidates, there were also examiners from the imperial court and some cavalrymen who were disqualified but allowed to watch the competition. Everyone's eyes fell on Gu Jiao. This kid's face was damaged and he wasn't old, but he dared to use such an arrogant tone in front of fifth grandfather Han. Was he not afraid of death? Compared to the showy heir Han, this low-key fifth grandfather Han was the real killing god of the Han family. Old Master Han thought highly of him. If he hadn't been poisoned, even the position of the head of the family would have been his. Fifth grandfather Han wasn't easily angered. What happened just now was an accident. There wouldn't be a second time. He looked deeply at Gu Jiao. "See you in the next round." Gu Jiao shrugged. "Who knows? After all, I've advanced and you haven't." Of all people, this was a sore spot. Fifth grandfather Han clenched his fists. Outside the tent, Han Lei gave one of the examiners a look. The examiner immediately coughed. "Ahem. All right, let's begin. Xiao Lulang, you've already advanced. You can stay and watch the battle, or you can leave first." Everyone looked at her enviously. Why couldn't this kind of luck fall on their heads? Gu Jiao said helplessly, "Since the examiner wants me to stay, then I will reluctantly take a look." The examiner was speechless. The tent was spacious, and in the middle of it was a sand table. The examiners sat on the main seats, facing the entrance of the tent. The spectators stood in designated areas on both sides, guarded by 10 guards. The tent was very quiet. The first group was between the Feng family's legitimate son, Feng Ling, and Fifth Han. Those who could advance to this round were all capable. Feng Ling's strength was not weak, and he often studied the art of war at home. However, he was not on the same level as Fifth Master Han. Fifth grandfather Han won effortlessly. Feng Ling walked to the spectator area dejectedly. The scion beside him comforted him. "All right, it's not like you lost to Fifth Master Han. You can even brag about it later." Feng Ling sighed. That's true. However, he had let his family down. Next was Taoist Qingfeng and the legitimate son of the Nangong family, who was Nangong Jing's biological brother. How much confidence did Nangong Jing have in her brother to think that the Nangong family could advance to the next round as long as Fifth Master Han was eliminated? See, the sand table deduction was hammered to death. "Thank you for letting me win." Taoist Qingfeng cupped his hands. The legitimate son of the Nangong family was ashen as he was carried away by the guards in defeat. Gu Chongqing frowned slightly. In this round he wanted to fight Fifth Master Han and Taoist Qingfeng the most. These two were too powerful. He wanted to have a chance to eliminate a strong opponent for his sister. Unfortunately, his opponent was the legitimate son of the Dong family. Third round, Han Ziyu. The examiner announced the result. Gu Chongqing cupped his hands at the legitimate son of the Dong family. "Thank you for letting me win." The legitimate son of the Dong family returned the gesture and accepted his defeat with dignity. In the fourth group, Mu Qingchen fought against his cousin. Mu Qingchen won. There was not much suspense in the first few groups. But the last group was a little surprising. One of them was a member of the Han family, and the other was a member of the humble class named Jun Xiuhan. In the first 2 rounds, most people paid attention to the members of the top 10 aristocratic families. Jun Xiuhan was so quiet that people ignored him. But in the end he won again. At the very least, Gu Jiao was using the identity of Duke N's adopted son. Jun Xiuhan, on the other hand, was a descendant of a humble family. He was one of the few students who relied on the prize money to study at Jianan Academy. It was also at this moment that people truly recognized this member of the humble class. This guy is so lucky. The aristocratic family members beside Gu Jiao whispered. Gu Jiao glanced at him. Why do you say so? The aristocratic family member said. It's not easy for him to reach this stage. He just defeated the Han family members. Just wait and see. The aristocratic families will definitely try to win him over. Gu Jiao said. Oh. The next round was a 300-mile raid. It was said that the king would personally set the topic. The specific location and rules would only be announced on the day of the selection. After coming out of the tent, Gu Jiao went to the stable to find the Black Wind King. Gu Changqing followed her. The last round is in 3 days. Let the Black Wind King recover in these 3 days. I will. Gu Jiao agreed. Gu Changqing said. The next round won't be in the military camp. You have to be careful. If the Han family has any plans, I will find a way to inform you. Gu Jiao nodded. You have to be careful too. Qi Xian and Han Yi have seen you. Don't run into them. Gu Changqing, who was cared for by his sister, was very happy. He nodded. Okay. As they spoke, the two arrived at the Black Wind King's stable. Gu Jiao had specially chosen the most remote stable. Normally no one would pass by. In the end, when the two of them arrived at the scene, they found 2 unconscious guards lying in the stable. The guards were wearing the Han family's cavalry armor. One of them had a crooked nose and a slanted mouth, while the other had a swollen face. The Black Wind King stood proudly in place. Gu Jiao checked the Black Wind King's food trough. There's poison. These 2 are here to poison the Black Wind King. However, they didn't expect the Black Wind King to be so powerful. Not only did they fail to poison the guards, but they were also knocked out by the Black Wind King. Gu Jiao patted the Black Wind King's head with gratification. Boss is mighty. Boss is amazing. Gu Changqing also looked at the Black Wind King with emotion. What a good horse. Gu Changqing couldn't stay for long. After a few words, he went to meet up with the Han family members. Gu Jiao held the Black Wind King's hand and left the military camp. Xiao Heng's carriage was parked at a fork in the road not far away. Thinking that he had been cooped up in the carriage for the whole day, Gu Jiao quickened her pace. However, when Gu Jiao arrived at the fork in the road, something troublesome happened. There were 2 carriages parked on both sides. One belonged to Xiao Heng, and the other belonged to the Duke's estate. The curtains of the 2 carriages were lifted at the same time. Xiao Heng and Duke N's faces were revealed. The 2 of them looked at Gu Jiao expectantly. They were waiting for Gu Jiao to get on the carriage. Gu Jiao was speechless. Gu Jiao braced herself and walked over. She stood in front of the 2 carriages. Second Master Jing stuck his head out of the window. Hey Lulang, why don't you get on the carriage? Gu Jiao rolled her eyes and quickly introduced. This is Duken. This is Second Master Jing. This is my friend. For pairs of eyes looked at each other at the same time. Duke N's head couldn't turn. Second Master Jing widened his eyes with his fingers. He wanted to see his eldest brother's share as well. Gu Jiao calmly lifted her foot in the direction of Xiao Heng. A murderous aura burst out from Duke, and Gu Jiao blinked and lifted her foot in the direction of Duke, and Xiao Heng's murderous aura also spread out in an instant. Gu Jiao's little Geo. It had nowhere to put it, so it could only stand on one leg. Second Master Jing got off the carriage and came to Xiao Heng's window. He looked at him carefully for a long time. Suddenly he slapped his head. Brat. It's really you. What are you doing? Didn't you recognize the Duke's carriage? Didn't you know to come over and say hello? I was wondering who had been standing here all day. Xiao Heng, who was stunned by the slap, was speechless. Empress Xianyuan was Xianyuan Li's younger sister, while the crown princess and Xianyuanzi were cousins. According to seniority, Xianyuanzi was the eldest grandson's aunt, while Dukan was the eldest grandson's uncle. Every time Shang Guanqing returned to the capital, he would stay in the small courtyard for a few days. After Dukan became a vegetable, he also secretly went to visit him. Outsiders didn't know that Shang Guanqing had private dealings with the Duke's mansion, but Second Master Jing knew. From the slap that Second Master Jing gave, Shang Guanqing, his uncle, and Second Master Jing were very close. Second Master Jing saw that Xiaoheng didn't make a sound and said in disbelief, "What? It's only been a year. Don't you recognize me?" He couldn't ruin his image. Xiaoheng smiled. "I recognize you," Second Master Jing said unhappily. "Then why didn't you greet me?" "How would I know what Shang Guanqing called you? Dukan is his uncle, you aren't," Second Master Jing said. "I thought you didn't even recognize your little uncle?" "Wait, shouldn't I politely call you Uncle Jing? How did you become my little uncle? How could you be so close?" Second Master Jing, who could even make Xianyuan Cheng his brother-in-law, felt that making him his little uncle wasn't a problem at all. He didn't treat himself as an outsider at all. Thinking of something, Second Master Jing looked at Gu Jiao and then looked at Xiaoheng. He asked, "Oh right, just now Lulang said you were his friend. Do you know Lulang?" Yes, we know each other. My mother was seriously injured and it was Lulang who treated her. Now Lulang is staying in the Qilin Hall, so it's convenient for him to continue treating my mother." "I see." Second Master Jing suddenly understood, and didn't question the truth of the matter. Firstly, he had heard about the crown princess's injury. Secondly, he had seen Xiao Liulong's medical skills with his own eyes. "How's your mother's condition?" Second Master Jing asked. "The operation was very successful. She's out of danger. She's currently recuperating in the State Preceptor Hall," Xiaoheng said. Second Master Jing secretly sighed. "That's good." Although the government announced that Shang Guanyan was out of danger, but when it was confirmed by Xiaoheng's mouth, his heart was completely at ease. "Your voice changed a little," Second Master Jing said. "It's better than before. Like I said, once a boy's voice changes, he won't have a goose voice anymore." Xiaoheng broke out in a cold sweat because of him. Xiaoheng smiled. "Little uncle is right. Let's go, let's talk in the carriage. Your uncle is also here." Second Master Jing pulled Xiaoheng into Duke Fu's carriage. Gu Jiao was also brought into the carriage. Xiaoheng secretly glanced at Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao glanced at Duke Fu and winked at him. Duke Fu's gaze fell on Xiaoheng's handsome face. Xiaoheng subconsciously touched the mole under his right eye. He smiled and greeted, "Uncle." Duke Fu's eyes moved. He dipped his fingertips in water and wrote on the armrest, "I want to eat fruit. You two go and pick some." "We too." Second Master Jing counted in the carriage. His eldest brother was in a wheelchair and Xiao Lulang was sick. No matter how he looked at it, these two referred to him and Xiao Lulang. It was rare for him to have a tacit understanding with his eldest brother. He said to Gu Jiao, "Lulang, I'll go over there to pick fruit." "Oh." Gu Jiao got up and glanced at Xiaoheng. Xiaoheng nodded slightly at her. Gu Jiao and Second Master Jing got out of the carriage. The High Duke had a panoramic view of the two of them. After the footsteps went away, Duke Fu wrote on the armrest, "You are not Shang Guanqing." Xiaoheng pinched his fingertips. Duke Fu continued to write, "Who are you to her?" It was she, not he. Xiaoheng didn't think that the #1 scholar of Xingdu, who was full of wisdom, would make a mistake. There was only one possibility. He knew that Gu Jiao was a girl. How did he know? Did he find out himself? Or did Gu Jiao tell him? Gu Jiao used the identity of Duke Fu's adopted son to participate in the selection of the Black Wind Cavalry's commander. It was the State Preceptor who showed up, so Xiaoheng did not think much of it. But now it seemed that Duke Fu's understanding and concern for Gu Jiao was a little more than he had imagined. Duke Fu wrote again, "Who are you to her?" The second she. Xiaoheng was completely sure that Gu Jiao's identity as a girl had been exposed to Duke Fu. After Duke Fu recognized that he was not Xiaoqing, he did not ask, "Who are you or why did you pretend to be Xiaoqing?" but "Who are you to her?" From this, it could be seen how important Gu Jiao was in Duke Fu's mind. Why did Duke Fu care so much about Gu Jiao? Was it because Gu Jiao had treated Duke Fu's illness once or twice? Many doubts flashed through Xiao Heng's mind. But one thing he was sure of was that Duke Fu would not hurt Gu Jiao. I am her husband. Xiao Heng told him the truth. Duke Fu's face suddenly darkened. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964226/1065963353. HTML Genius remembered this site's address in a second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuga mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 761. The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Jiao and Second Master Jing came back after picking the fruits. Second Master Jing lifted the curtain and walked in, but he retreated after one step. What a strong murderous aura. He hugged the fruits and said solemnly beside Gu Jiao. Whose murderous aura? Gu Jiao asked. My big brother's. Second Master Jing said. I've known my big brother for so many years, but this is the first time I felt such a strong murderous aura. That's too exaggerated. However, Dukin clearly had something to say to Xiao Heng alone when he sent her and Second Master Jing away. Could it be that Dukin had publicly acknowledged that Xiao Heng wasn't Shang Guanqing? Gu Jiao hurriedly got into the carriage. Xiao Heng turned his head to look at her, intending to complain to Gu Jiao with his eyes. What was frustrating was that Duke N's murderous aura disappeared as soon as he put on a "your godfather bullied me" look. Duke N's gentle gaze fell on Xiao Heng's face. If it weren't for the fact that his facial muscles were still stiff, he would have started to smile. The kind that was incomparably benevolent. The disciple of the tea master, the old chancellor, met his match for the first time. Isn't this good? Gu Jiao said. Second Master Jing, who followed Gu Jiao, had a face of disbelief. Good, it seems to be good. Dukin wrote on the armrest. We had a good chat. Xiao Heng, is that so? Why did I feel that you wanted to kill me just now? Dukin continued to write. He's a good young man. I like him very much. Gu Jiao nodded. I like him too. Dukin, you have good taste. Gu Jiao's impression of Dukin increased. Xiao Heng was not to be outdone. He hurriedly said, Duke Ongua is knowledgeable in astronomy and geography. You are truly a genius. I will learn more from Duke Ongua in the future. Lulang, when you come to visit Dukin in the future, bring me along. Gu Jiao nodded. She was happy to see Dukin with her husband. Dukin was so angry that he couldn't see clearly. Second Master Jing, who was in a state of shock, asked, Why are you calling him Dukin? Call me uncle. Xiao Heng looked at Dukin and smiled from ear to ear. Uncle. Dukin turned his face away in his heart. Humph. Last night, Gu Jiao promised little Jing Kong that she would pick him up from school today. After sitting in Dukin's carriage for a while, she left with Xiao Heng. Eldest brother, let's go back too. Second Master Jing said. Dukin suddenly wrote on the armrest. I want to train. Second Master Jing's eyes widened. He thought he had seen wrongly. Eldest brother, what's wrong with you? The doctor told you to train so many times, but you refused. Why did you change your mind? Dukin, I want to stand up and beat that guy up. Gu Jiao and Xiao Heng sent Black Wind King back to the State Preceptor Hall first. Then they took the carriage to Lingbo Academy. Xiao Heng said, Dukin knows that I'm not Shang Guanqing. It's okay. He won't say it out loud. Gu Jiao said. When there were no outsiders, Gu Jiao spoke in a female voice. Xiao Heng looked at Gu Jiao in confusion. You trust him that much? Yes. Gu Jiao admitted without hesitation. She trusted Dukin. She had this feeling from the first time she saw him. Otherwise, she wouldn't crawl into a stranger's bed. Xiaoheng opened his mouth and said, "He also knows that you're a girl." Gu Jiao touched her chin. "He really knows?" Xiaoheng was stunned. "You know that he knows?" Gu Jiao thought for a moment. "I just guessed. When I first came to Xingdu, I accidentally entered the Duke's mansion. At that time, Dukin was unconscious. I thought he was unconscious, so I used my original voice when I spoke. Later, he was assassinated and injured. When I treated his wounds, I found that he seemed to be conscious. Anyway, he couldn't open his eyes, so I didn't bother to disguise myself as a teenager. He treats you so well because you saved him." Xiaoheng seemed to have found a reason for Duke N's favoritism to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao shook her head. "I don't know. Later, I went to the Duke's mansion openly several times. My voice was different. I thought that he didn't recognize me, but now it seems that he always knew it was me. She didn't know how he recognized her. It was like, as long as you were close to me, I would be happy and know that it was you." The carriage arrived at Lingbo Academy. The two little kids just came out of the prodigy class and stood at the door cutely. Zhang Dequan also came to take the young commandery princess back to the palace. His Majesty had been thinking about her for a whole day. He was very worried that the young commandery princess would be uncomfortable to go back to the academy so soon. His eyes lit up and he walked toward the young commandery princess. Unexpectedly, the young commandery princess and little Jing Kong directly got into the carriage of the state preceptor hall. "Hello teacher, hello little nephew, goodbye eunuch Zhang." Zhang Dequan was speechless. In the small bamboo house in the purple bamboo forest, the state preceptor and the monarch sat opposite each other and drank tea. The monarch's legs were sore from sitting, so he stood up and walked around the house. The monarch was originally reading the memorials in the imperial study. He came to the state preceptor hall on the spur of the moment. The young commandery princess didn't know that he was here, and Zhang Dequan didn't know either. It didn't matter. The monarch came to the state preceptor's study. Jing Yinin's things in the study had been put away by the state preceptor. There were only some books and paintings left. The monarch wouldn't turn over the state preceptor's paintings. He just came to the treasure cabinet and looked at the 3 clay figurines sitting in the small courtyard. There was a long low table between the 3 of them. One of them sat on one side, and the other 2 sat on the other side. "You still keep them?" the monarch said. The state preceptor stopped beside the monarch and stared at the 3 clay figurines in the clay figurines. He said, "Yes, I've been keeping them. I don't want to throw them away after so many years." The monarch said, "You two always sit together, which makes me seem very unsociable." The state preceptor said, "Your Majesty is the monarch. We don't dare to offend you." The monarch didn't continue this topic. He touched the little peach tree on the clay figurines and said, "The results of the selection are out. There are 6 people in the final selection. Guess who they are?" The state preceptor said, "Han Xiai, Feng Wuming, Mu Qingchen, Xiao Lulang and Jun Xiuhan." The monarch took back his hand and said, "Yes, these 5 are correct. There's one left." The state preceptor said, "Although I don't know who the last one is, he should be from the Han family." The monarch said, "Did you do a divination?" The state preceptor said, "No, I just analyzed their strength." The monarch said, "Then who do you think will pass the last test?" The state preceptor said, "It's hard to say." The monarch looked at him strangely and asked, "Why?" The state preceptor said, "They all have their own advantages. I don't know the rules of the last round, so I can't make a conclusion." The monarch came to the window and looked at the endless purple bamboo forest. He said faintly, "Feng Wuming and Jun Xiuhan are from the Canaan Academy. Although Feng Wuming is a monk, he learned the art of war before he became a monk. The Canaan Academy pays a lot of attention to the art of war." The state preceptor's expression didn't change at all. He said, "The Canaan Academy has produced 6 scholars and 4 scholars. The Canaan Academy has not only cultivated many excellent generals for the Yan Kingdom, but also sent more scholars to the imperial court." The monarch smiled and said, "I didn't say it was bad. How did Xiao Lulang become the adopted son of the Anghua family? I heard that you were the one who pulled the strings. What's the meaning of this, state preceptor?" The state preceptor said. There's no meaning. I just feel that he is a promising talent. Why the Ongwa family? The monarch asked suspiciously. The state preceptor met the monarch's gaze and said slowly, he cured the crown princess and took the credit of saving the young princess. He has long been a thorn in the side of the aristocratic families. Other than the Ongwa family, I can't think of anyone who dares to take over this hot potato. The monarch looked away and continued to admire the purple bamboo forest. How is the Ongwa family? The state preceptor said lightly, not good. He can't speak and can't move his legs. He will be like this for the rest of his life. Your Majesty, you don't have to worry about him. The monarch snorted coldly. Humph, it's just the Ongwa family. I don't have to worry about him. The state preceptor didn't say anything else. The room fell into silence. The monarch suddenly laughed. The state preceptor looked at him strangely. The monarch said with relief, I know how to test the last round. Bring me a pen. The young princess had a pleasant and wonderful night in the Kylan Hall. She didn't remember that she was going back to the palace at all. When the monarch passed by the Kylan Hall, he saw Zhang Dequan standing outside. He frowned. Why are you here? Didn't I ask you to pick up the young princess? Zhang Dequan pointed at the entrance of the Kylan Hall. The two little people were squatting on the ground and piling up sand. The monarch was speechless. The monarch grabbed the young princess and put her on the carriage. Didn't I ask you to stay in the palace? Why are you running around again? The young princess pointed. I am here to look for Uncle, Your Majesty. If I don't come to catch you, you can play with that boy until dawn. Do you believe it? The young princess blinked guiltily and leaned toward the monarch. She praised him against her conscience. Uncle, you are very handsome today. The monarch snorted. The young princess continued to pester him, using her invincible cute killer move. Uncle, I like you the most. The monarch snorted. The person who liked Uncle the most was suddenly attracted by the bamboo tubes in the monarch's hand. What is this? Even the bamboo tubes are better looking than Uncle. The monarch was speechless. The little girl's eyes were wide open. Her mouth was also wide open. She was almost drooling. She remembered the bamboo tube rice that she had eaten tonight. Her teacher had personally made it with dates and red beans. It was fragrant and sticky. It was delicious and not greasy. The monarch looked at her drooling, and the corner of his mouth twitched. It's a test, not food. The little girl immediately distanced herself from the test. She straightened her body and said seriously, I don't want to take the test. The monarch was angry and amused at the same time. It is not for you. It is for your teacher and the others. 6 people, 6 test questions. Everyone's task was different. Moreover, they didn't know each other. This would lead to differences in information. They wouldn't even know how they lost. This was not a simple 300-mile ride. This was a strategic game. The one who reached the finish line first might not be the one who would advance. The key to victory was the one who grasped all the information first. Unfortunately, no one would think of this. They would only continue to rush and reach the finish line at all costs. The monarch felt that he was a genius. He actually came up with such a tricky test. Teacher's test questions? The young princess rubbed her little fingers together and rolled her eyes. She said in a cute voice, Uncle, I want to poop. The monarch frowned. Now, they had already left the teacher's hall. I can't hold it in anymore. She held her breath and said with a red face. The monarch said, Don't be naughty. You are deliberately lying just for fun. The young princess turned into an angry chicken in a second. I didn't do it for fun. Uncle, you wronged me. I am so sad. The monarch was stunned. The little girl looked like she had been wronged. It was as if he had really wronged her. The monarch cleared his throat and said to Zhang Dequan, Let's go back to the teacher's hall first. Yes. Zhang Dequan responded and asked the coachman to drive the carriage back to the state teacher's hall. The young princess raised her chin and said, I want to poop in the Qilin Hall. The monarch said with a dark face, You still say you don't want to play. The young princess argued, There is a small toilet in the Qilin Hall. The monarch was speechless. You are really asking for a lot. The monarch stopped the carriage outside the Qilin Hall. I want to poop for a long time. Just tell me if you want to play. I don't. The monarch said. Zhang Dequan. The young princess said. I want uncle to go with me. The monarch put a few small bamboo tubes in the secret compartment of the carriage and led the young princess out of the carriage. I forgot something. I will take it myself. She climbed into the carriage and quietly opened the secret compartment. Then she hid the small bamboo tubes in her bag. The monarch said, Why did you bring a bag to the toilet? The young princess said, I have something to give to Jing Kong. You just want to play. The monarch led her into the Qilin Hall. Do you think I can't see through you? The toilet in the Qilin Hall was clean and tidy. It was not an ordinary toilet. The young princess came to the door and reached out a small hand to the monarch, gesturing for him to stop. Okay, I will go in myself. Uncle, wait for me here. The monarch didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The young princess entered the toilet and locked the door. Then, she stepped on a small stool and climbed onto the windowsill. She called out softly, Xiaojiu, Xiaojiu. Xiaojiu flapped her wings and flew over. The young princess poured out the 6 questions on the table. Aya, there are so many. Which one is the teacher's? I can't read. I can take them all. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. All the novels that can't be found online are here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_896428266/106591647. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Bikugo mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 762. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more interesting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more frequently. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all available here. The king waited outside for a while and was worried about the little princess. Light Shui. He let out a cry. The little princess stood on the windowsill and looked anxiously at the bamboo tube in little Nine's mouth. I'm still pooping. Don't come in. The king sighed helplessly and continued to wait in the corridor. He hesitated for a while and was still worried. He went to the door and said, Don't fall in. The little princess said, I won't. She didn't really go pooping. How could she fall into the toilet? The king paced outside for a while. Are you still not coming out? It's almost done. The king was finally impatient. He felt that there was something wrong with the little girl inside. I'm coming in, the king said. The king pushed the door open. The little girl even locked the door. Ghost, there must be a ghost. Zhang Dequan. The king called in a deep voice. Zhang Dequan understood. He took the hairpin from his hair and used it to pry open the door. He opened the door and the king walked in with a serious face. I knew you were up to no good. The king looked seriously at the little girl who was lying on the windowsill. The little girl was pinching a big bird with both hands. Perhaps the king was too loud. Her little body trembled. When she turned around, she couldn't hide her guilty conscience. When he saw that the big bird in her hands was an eagle, the king felt terrible. Guards. As soon as he gave the order, Zhang Dequan rushed in with the imperial bodyguards. The imperial bodyguards rushed towards the eagle that had attacked the young commandery princess. The little princess was so scared that she let go. Little Nine flapped its wings and flew away. The young princess pursed her lips and cried, Wah wah. It was not easy for me to catch Xiaojiu. You scared Xiaojiu away. I want Xiaojiu. I want Xiaojiu. She could still call out the name. The monarch walked over and carried the little fellow into his arms. He checked her up and down to make sure she wasn't injured before asking, What little Nine? It's that bird just now. It's called Little Nine. So you're not here to poop, you're here to catch a bird? The young princess let out 2 dry howls and lowered her head to check her fingers. In the king's eyes, this meant that he had guessed right. The little guy was here to catch birds. The king was furious. That's an eagle. It can hurt people. Aren't you afraid of being bitten by it? The Canton princess said in a low voice, Little Nine doesn't bite. Look at her mouth. Ever since she started school, she had become more eloquent. Whose bird? The monarch asked. The young princess pursed her lips and said, He's from Jing Kong. Uncle, why does he have a bird and I don't? I'm so sad. You'll only be sad if you have a bird. You're a little girl. The king facepalmed. What the hell was going on? The monarch was so angry that he was confused. He took a deep breath and felt that he was going to explode at any time. Go back to the palace. If she didn't go back to the palace, he was afraid that he would spank her little butt. The young princess drooped her little head. Oh, the young princess was taken away by the king. When she returned to the carriage, she suddenly said, Uncle, I want to hide inside. You can look for me. Children were really fickle. No, the king mercilessly refused. The young princess hugged the king's thigh and acted like a spoiled child. I want. Uncle is looking for light shui. Find please, it's useless to beg. I only need 12 times. The king gritted his teeth. Uncle is the best. Light shui loves you. The young royal princess quietly climbed into the carriage, closed the curtain, and put the small bamboo tubes back into the hidden compartment. Qilan Hall. Xiao Heng and Gu Jiao went to the purple bamboo forest to chop bamboo. When Little Nine came back with the bamboo tubes, only Shang Guanyan and Little Jing Kong were left in the room. Shang Guanyan knew that the bamboo tubes belonged to the king when she saw them. She couldn't move by herself, so she asked Little Jing Kong to ask what was going on. It's the teacher's test. The young princess said, Is the teacher here? Show it to the teacher. Don't let my uncle find out. Gu Jiao was not here, so she couldn't read it. But Little Jing Kong had a good memory, and quickly memorized the content of the test. Little Jing Kong was a strict child. Not only did he write down each note from memory, but he also asked Yuhi for 6 bamboo tubes to put the notes in. Then he restored the details to perfection. The difference was that the monarch's bamboo tube was the smallest one, while the one Yuhi found for him was the largest one. So when Gu Jiao and Xiao Heng came back from chopping bamboo, they saw 6 extra large bamboo tubes on the table. It was quite exaggerated. What's the matter? Xiao Heng asked. Light Shui said that it was Jiao Jiao's test. Little Jing Kong patted his small chest. I memorized it. I wrote it down. The two exchanged a look. Test? Was it what they thought? The two took the test to the room next door. Xiao Heng closed the door and sat down at the table with Gu Jiao. 6 bamboo tubes, 6 people who advanced. Open them. He looked at the bamboo tubes on the table and said, Okay. Gu Jiao picked up a bamboo tube, poured out the note inside and read, Enter the Songshan mountain range. Raid the enemy's camp near the Bus spring. Seize the secret letter. And send it to the first fire beacon camp. Hand it to the left deputy general of the garrison. It sounds like your final selection mission. Xiao Heng paused. But why are there 6 bamboo tubes? Gu Jiao opened the second tube. You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the first fire beacon camp and hand it to the right deputy general of the rebel army. What do you mean? Gu Jiao asked. Xiao Heng said, the secret letter that was plundered from the enemy's camp was a fake one. If he didn't see this bamboo tube, he probably wouldn't know that he took a fake secret letter. In that case, even if he reached the end, the mission would be a failure. Gu Jiao frowned. What a thief. In that case, this mission of escorting the real secret letter is more advantageous. We don't have to fight the enemy, and we don't have to worry about taking a fake secret letter. Xiao Heng felt that things weren't that simple. Let's take a look at the third one first. Gu Jiao opened the third tube. This time, the situation changed. Enter the Pine Mountain Range and ambush the enemy's camp near Huangshipo. Steal the secret letter and deliver it to the second fire beacon camp. Personally hand it to the left deputy general of the rebel army. Gu Jiao opened the fourth tube. You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the second fire beacon camp, and personally hand it to the right deputy general of the rebel army. Oh, is this a dungeon run with an NPC at a different location? What? Xiaoheng didn't understand the last two words. Gu Jiao explained. It's just that the location and characters are different. The format of the mission is the same as the first group. One person will go to the enemy's camp to steal the fake one, and the other will escort the real one. Let's take a look at the last two too, Xiaoheng said. He guessed that it was a different story. As expected, the last two targets were the third fire beacon camp. The ambush location was the Purple Grass Lake in the Pine Mountain Range. Gu Jiao concluded. There are a total of 3 groups in this competition. Each group has a cavalry and a spy. But how are we going to determine the winner? For example, Gu Chongqing, 5th Master Han. The 3 of us all picked the spy and safely delivered the secret letter to the rebel army. Then, who among us will be the one to advance? Xiaoheng shook his head thoughtfully. It's impossible for us to complete the mission at the same time. We can only fail at the same time. Gu Jiao was surprised. What do you mean? Xiaoheng opened the note. If you look at the spy carefully, quickly bring the only secret letter. This only one is the key to the entire mission. You clearly have 3 spies, so why do you say there is only one letter? Gu Jiao thought for a moment. Because the destinations are different? For example, there is only one secret letter to the first fire beacon camp. Then there is no need to emphasize this only one. Xiaoheng boldly analyzed. I think this only one refers to destroying the secret letters of the other 2 spies and turning your secret letter into the only one. As he spoke, he opened another piece of paper that belonged to the cavalryman. And the cavalryman's mission has the word they. Since the secret letter from the enemy camp is fake, they should be referring to the 3 spies. Gu Jiao understood what he meant. So the cavalry's mission is to snatch the 3 secret letters, and the spy's mission is to destroy the secret letter in the other people's hands. In this way, there will be a fierce battle between the 6 of them. Xiaoheng sighed. 3 to snatch and 3 to destroy. How is it just a fierce battle? It's a battle to the death. Gu Jiao thought of a possibility. She frowned and asked, what if they all fail? For example, the secret letters are all destroyed. Xiaoheng's expression became serious. Then the winner will be the king. The king didn't want anyone to win from the beginning. He first used the power of the 10 aristocratic families to get everyone to agree to the proposal of selecting the commander of the Black Wind Cavalry. Then he used the rules of the selection to eliminate all the cavalry. In this way, he could say in a dignified manner, it's not that I don't want to give you a chance, it's that you don't have the ability. Then, I can only temporarily take back the Black Wind Cavalry. Gu Jiao said, just like how he took back the military power of the Mu family. The king of the Yin kingdom's thoughts were deeper than the sea. Xiaoheng said, this time it's not only a battle with the aristocratic families, but also a battle with the king of the Yin kingdom. Fortunately, we know the exam question and have a big advantage. Gu Jiao said seriously, I won't let him have his way. She would not let the aristocratic families have their way either. She must take back the Black Wind Cavalry of the Xianyuan family. The 3-day deadline arrived as promised. Gu Jiao and the other 5 went to the cavalry camp of the Han family early in the morning. This round, the Ministry of War, Ministry of Rights, Honglu Temple, and Rearguard Commandery worked together to invigilate the exam. The invigilator from the Rearguard Commandery was Wang Su. No one from the Wang family advanced this time, so Wang Su had placed his hopes on Mu Qingqian. However, when he saw Gu Jiao, he suddenly felt that it would not be bad if Gu Jiao advanced. The 2 did not communicate at all, and pretended not to know each other even if they saw each other. After the group gathered, they went to the entrance of the Mount Song mountain range. The Minister of War announced the rules of this round of the exam. Generally speaking, the sparring was to stop at a certain point and not harm one's life. Those who violated the rules would have their results revoked, and would be punished according to the law. Then, they entered the small bamboo hut one by one to draw lots. On the surface, they were drawing lots, but in fact they were drawing lots for the exam. Wang Su and the minister of Honglu Temple sat in the small bamboo hut. It was a relatively closed space, so no one except the cavalry and the two invigilators knew about the task on the paper. Gu Jiao was the last to enter the small bamboo hut. After she came out, the minister of war sounded the gong. The five of them rode into the mountain range, and soon separated from each other. Gu Jiao was the only one who walked at a leisurely pace. It looked more like she was riding a donkey than a horse. The invigilators were anxious for her. "Why don't you go? Are you reluctant to part with us or what?" It wasn't that Gu Jiao was reluctant to part with them. Gu Jiao waited until the others were far enough away before spurring her horse to chase after Gu Changqing. Gu Changqing had been waiting for her for a long time. Seeing her come over, he urged his horse over and said, "They've all left. It's very safe here." "What did you draw?" Gu Jiao asked. Gu Changqing handed his paper to her. Gu Jiao looked at it and said, "Oh, you drew the cavalry from the 1st Fire Beacon Battalion. I'm a spy from the 1st Fire Beacon Battalion." Gu Changqing smiled. "It's nice that we're from the same battalion. It was fate that brought him and his sister together." Gu Jiao. "Oh, as long as you're happy." Gu Changqing didn't care that he was a cavalry and his sister was a spy. Anyway, he could betray them at any time for his sister. Gu Changqing said in a good mood, "I saw that everyone was going in different directions, so I guessed that their destinations might be different. But I didn't expect that even their identities would be different." Gu Jiao told Gu Changqing the analysis of the 6 bamboo tubes. Gu Changqing seemed to wake up from a dream. "I thought that we could get the secret letter by raiding the enemy's camp." Gu Jiao waved her hand. "That's a fake secret letter. It's useless even if we get it. The real secret letter is in the hands of the 3 of us spies. They're still in the dark. Let's rob them." Gu Changqing looked at his sister dotingly. "Okay." Gu Jiao asked, "Where did the 4 of them go?" Gu Changqing said, "Taoist Qingfeng and Mu Qingchen went to the east. 5th Master Han and Jun Xiuhan went to the southeast. Who should we chase first?" The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is more complete and updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_89642_826/1065755762. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikugo mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 763. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated faster. Millions of novels can be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that can't be found online. Gu Jiao took out a map. Ever since he learned of the king's intentions, Xiao Heng had specially drawn up a detailed map of the Mount Song mountain range for Gu Jiao. On it were the locations of the 3 enemy camps to be attacked, and the various paths to the 3 fire beacon camps. Gu Jiao pointed at the map and said, "Our current position is closer to the southeast. Let's chase after 5th Grandfather Han and Jun Xiuhan first." Gu Changqing was puzzled. "Tell me, who do you think is the spy?" "The one who goes to the enemy camp must be the cavalry, and the one who goes around is the spy." Gu Jiao pointed at the path marked with cinnabar on the map. "If we don't go to the enemy camp, the spy should be at this position by now. We'll go around from the east and block him." She even planned the path. It seemed that his sister came prepared. The Black Wind Cavalry instinctively followed the Black Wind King. With the Black Wind King leading the way, the Black Wind Cavalry ran very fast. Gu Changqing even felt that it was faster than his usual speed. However, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. They didn't catch up with 5th Grandfather Han and Jun Xiuhan. Instead, they ran into Mu Qingchen, who was running from the other direction. Gu Jiao tightened the reins. Gu Changqing also stopped. The two silently looked at Mu Qingchen not far away. They didn't understand what had happened. He went east just now, Gu Changqing murmured. The east was to the second fire beacon camp, and the southeast was to the third fire beacon camp. This wasn't a shortcut. He kept looking back. It seems that someone is chasing him, Gu Jiao said. Could it be that he's the spy? Taoist Qingfeng has discovered the real mission, so he's starting to steal his secret letter? Gu Changqing said. I'm going to grab the secret letter. Wait for me here. Don't show yourself. Okay. Gu Jiao nodded and stroked the Black Wind King's mane. The Black Wind King understood and lowered his oar a bit. Hiding behind a towering tree, Gu Changqing dashed towards Mu Qingchen at top speed. Mu Qingchen was caught off guard. He instinctively drew his sword and slashed. The sword chi he slashed out carried a biting cold wind, sweeping up all the fallen leaves in the forest, forming a huge whirlpool, which swallowed Gu Changqing from head to toe. Gu Jiao raised an eyebrow. He did not expect Mu Qingchen to have such a trump card. Back then, when he was fighting against the direct descendants of the 5 great clans in the forest, he had held back. When he fought against the Wang family, he did not use his full strength. Gu Changqing was a veteran of the battlefield, so he naturally would not underestimate his opponent. The moment Mu Qingchen attacked, he had already drawn the sword at his waist and slashed out a terrifying sword chi to meet Mu Qingchen's attack. The whirlpool of fallen leaves was forcefully split open by Gu Changqing's sword chi. The fallen leaves were like knives, biting back at Mu Qingchen. Mu Qingchen hurriedly drew his sword to block. It was during this gap in defense that Gu Changqing suddenly stepped on the ground, flew up, and knocked Mu Qingchen off his horse with a palm strike. This was because Mu Qingchen had helped Gu Jiao before, so he did not use his sword to wound him. He only used his left palm to knock him off his horse. Mu Qingchen was about to get up, but Gu Changqing landed firmly on the ground and pressed his sword against his neck. Mu Qingchen looked at Gu Changqing strangely. Han Ziyu. Hand over the bamboo tube. Gu Changqing looked down at him and said. Mu Qingchen frowned coldly. He took out the bamboo tube and threw it to Gu Changqing. Gu Changqing caught it with a backhand. Mu Qingchen said coldly, Is the Han family so unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals? Gu Changqing asked back. Is this the first time you've met the Han family? Mu Qingchen did not suspect that he had snatched the bamboo tube. After all, this was also a method to make the cavalry fail their mission. Gu Changqing was worried that Mu Qingchen would give him a fake secret letter, so he opened the bamboo tube to take a look. Fortunately, he had seen it. This was because Mu Qingchen was not a spy at all. He was a cavalry member of the 3rd Fire Beacon Battalion. Gu Changqing was confused. Why did a cavalry member like him come here instead of attacking the enemy camp? Gu Changqing asked calmly. Didn't you go east? Why did you come here? Mu Qingchen said unhappily. That Taoist priest kept following me. I couldn't get rid of him, so I could only take a longer route. Who could understand the fear of being followed by a big shot? Gu Jiao put her hand to her forehead. She had forgotten that the monk had told her that Taoist priest Qingfeng had no sense of direction. Taoist priest Qingfeng followed Mu Qingchen because he did not know the way. As for why he only followed Mu Qingchen among so many people, it was because he had borrowed a compass from the state preceptor the day before yesterday. The compass could give him a general direction. If he went east, Mu Qingchen would also go east. Once Mu Qingchen deviated from the direction, Taoist priest Qingfeng would not follow him. Gu Changqing withdrew his long sword. I won't hurt you. You're out of the game. It was impossible to return the bamboo tube to him. That would expose the hidden mission. Gu Changqing got back on his horse. He took a long detour before returning to Gu Jiao's place. At this time, Mu Qingchen had already left on his horse. Are we going to find Taoist priest Qingfeng next? Gu Changqing asked. Gu Jiao thought for a moment. Taoist priest Qingfeng is too difficult to deal with. Let's go find 5th grandfather Han and Junxiu Han first and make an ally. Okay. Gu Changqing agreed without hesitation. He had never thought of himself as the leader of this selection. He respected all of his sister's decisions and was willing to pay any price. The two of them followed the shortcut on the map and arrived at the location of the 2nd Fire Beacon Camp surprise attack, Huang Shupo. At this time, this place had not been conquered by the cavalry yet. The two of them directly showed up and wiped out the enemy camp. These soldiers were all NPCs in the examination room, not the real enemy. Gu Jiao and Gu Changqing were careful. They did not hurt anyone and only tied them up. Then the two of them began a long wait. Do you think it will be Jun Xiuhan or fifth grandfather Han? Gu Jiao asked. Who do you think it will be? Gu Changqing asked. Fifth grandfather Han, Gu Jiao said. Speak of the devil. The sound of hurried horse hooves could be heard. The person on the horse was really fifth grandfather Han. Gu Jiao hurriedly hid with Black Wind King. After fifth grandfather Han rode his horse to the scene, he looked at the messy temporary camp and then looked at Gu Changqing. He frowned and asked, what happened? Gu Changqing said, I was ordered by the crown prince to help fifth grandfather pass. I saw that fifth grandfather was heading southeast, so I planned to take a shortcut to meet up with fifth grandfather, who knew that I would hear fighting halfway, so I came to take a look. What's your mission? Fifth grandfather Han asked. Gu Changqing threw his bamboo tube to him. Fifth grandfather Han opened Gu Changqing's bamboo tube. The contents were similar to his, but the difference was that Gu Changqing wanted to raid Jade Moon Pool and head to the first fire beacon camp. Gu Changqing said without changing his expression, I'm guessing that the selection this time was to see who could reach the designated camp first. Priest Qingfeng's horse couldn't beat fifth grandfather's horse, so he could only snatch fifth grandfather's letter and prevent fifth grandfather from completing the mission. Fifth grandfather Han frowned. You're saying that Priest Qingfeng raided this place? Gu Changqing lied through his teeth. Yes, when I came, I saw him leave here with a letter in his hand. Where did he go? Fifth grandfather Han asked in a low voice. Gu Changqing pointed to the east. That way. Fifth grandfather, I'll go with you. Gu Jiao rubbed his chin. So smooth. It wasn't that fifth grandfather Han was stupid, but that fifth grandfather Han didn't have God's view and didn't know about the hidden mission. Gu Changqing even gave him his bamboo tube, so what else could he suspect? Purple grass pool should be nearby. Why can't I find it? Priest Qingfeng circled the area 5 times with the compass. On the 6th lap, fifth grandfather Han appeared with a murderous aura. The black demon horse raised its front hooves and bit at Priest Qingfeng's white horse like a ferocious beast. Daoist Qingfeng leaped into the air and protected his horse. He then slapped the black demon horse's head with his palm. How could fifth grandfather Han let him do as he wished? Fifth grandfather Han's palm met the wind from Qingfeng's palm. Powerful internal energy collided. If fifth grandfather Han wasn't riding the black demon horse, he would have suffered internal injuries from the shockwaves. He couldn't exhaust the black demon horse too early. He still had to rely on it for the 300-mile raid later. Fifth grandfather Han got off his horse. Fifth grandfather Han's silver hair was like the moon, and his cold eyes shone. Hand over the letter. Otherwise, I'll make sure you don't walk out of here alive. Priest Qingfeng was a spy, so he did have a secret letter in his hands. He thought fifth grandfather Han wanted to steal his secret letter. He said, come and get it if you can. In fifth grandfather Han's ears, Priest Qingfeng was admitting that he had stolen Huang Shipo's secret letter. He attacked Priest Qingfeng with a killer move. Neither of them used any weapons, but their bare-handed fight turned the forest into a smoke-filled battlefield. Gu Jiao and Gu Changqing followed behind. The two of them rode on their horses and watched the fight between Priest Qingfeng and fifth grandfather Han from afar. The two of them fought fiercely, and it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. The birds in the forest were so scared that they fluttered their wings and flew away. The ferocious beasts also let out fearful roars and fled in all directions. Is Hanxi's martial arts that high? Gu Jiao sighed. She was almost on par with Priest Qingfeng. Gu Changqing said, I'll go help. Gu Jiao nodded. Okay. Gu Changqing rode his horse and stopped it near the two of them. He tried his best to prevent the innocent horses from being affected by the internal force. Fifth grandfather, I'll help you. Gu Changqing drew his long sword and joined the fight. Priest Qingfeng's aura suddenly surged. Gu Changqing frowned. What a powerful internal force. Priest Qingfeng rose into the air. The aura around him flowed as if it had formed a huge invisible 8 trigrams plate behind him. In the array, He slammed his palm down and knelt on one knee. The wind from his palm hit the ground hard. In an instant, sand and stones flew and leaves filled the sky. Taoist Qingfeng seemed to be in a passive position in the fight just now, but he actually had absolute control. Gu Chongqing and Fifth Master Han both fell into his array. Gu Chongqing was in the east, in the Li position, while Fifth Grandfather Han was in the west, in the Cam position. In his array, he was the king. He shouted, "Li can break." His powerful inner strength was infused with the boundless Tao will of heaven and earth. Like countless invisible blades, they attacked Gu Chongqing and Fifth Master Han with the power of mountains and rivers. Both of them were sent flying. Gu Jiao frowned and galloped over. She stood in front of Taoist Master Qingfeng and said, "I hate it when the Han family bullies others. Two of you ganging up on one person. What kind of hero are you? Priest. I'll help you." Priest Qingfeng's attack had used up a lot of his internal force. He needed some time to recover. It was not that Gu Jiao could not take advantage of the situation. However, if he recovered and came after her, she would be done for. Therefore, she had to be smart. Fifth Grandfather Han immediately stood up after falling to the ground. He was more resilient than Han Yi. Just as Fifth Grandfather Han was about to attack Gu Jiao, Gu Chongqing also stood up with a hand on his chest. "Fifth Grandfather, you don't have to deal with this immature brat. I'll deal with him." The brother and sister fought fiercely on the field. They looked fierce, but they did not use much strength. Gu Jiao's back was facing Priest Qingfeng. She put her hands together and blocked Gu Chongqing's long sword. Gu Chongqing gave her a look. Gu Jiao nodded slightly. Die. Gu Chongqing hit Gu Jiao's shoulder with his palm. His powerful internal force sent her flying, and she fell toward Priest Qingfeng. Taoist Qingfeng leaped into the air and grabbed Gu Jiao's soft waist. Gu Jiao moved her fingertips and put Priest Qingfeng's small bamboo tube into her sleeve. At the same time, she put Mu Qingchen's bamboo tube back on his waist. In this way, Priest Qingfeng would discover it later if the weight didn't change. Priest Qingfeng and Fifth Grandfather Han joined the battle again. Gu Jiao and Gu Chongqing were fighting farther and farther away. "Xiao Lulang, don't you dare run away. I'll kill you today." The brother and sister galloped on their horses until they could no longer hear Priest Qingfeng and Fifth Grandfather Han's battle. Only then did they stop and let out a sigh of relief. "How was it?" Gu Chongqing asked. Gu Jiao took out Priest Qingfeng's small bamboo tube and took out the secret letter. She smiled and said, "It's the real secret letter." Gu Chongqing looked at his sister's smile and a smile flashed across his eyes. "Including yours, we have 2 secret letters." The last secret letter was in Jun Xiuhan's hands. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated more quickly. Millions of novels will be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that you can't find on the internet. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_89642_106570962. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Biku Pavilion Mobile Reading Website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 764. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all here. Jun Xiuhan's destination was the second fire beacon camp. Gu Jiao spread out the map and Xiaoheng's markings were very clear. Gu Jiao pointed at the cinnabar path and said, "Under normal circumstances, Jun Xiuhan would take this path. It is relatively flat and wide. He should have reached this birch forest by now. There is actually a small path that can go around, and that is to cross the river." Gu Chongqing looked at the sky and said, "It hasn't rained in the past few days. The river shouldn't be too turbulent. We can cross it." The two took a detour and entered the birch forest, successfully blocking Jun Xiuhan's path. As before, it was Gu Chongqing who appeared. Gu Chongqing blocked Jun Xiuhan's path and coldly said, "Hand over your bamboo tube." Jun Xiuhan was a tall young man. He had the scholarly aura of the world's literati. If one hadn't seen him fight, no one would have seen him as an expert at first glance. But Gu Chongqing and Gu Jiao both understood that people who could reach this stage definitely didn't rely on luck. Jun Xiuhan looked at Gu Chongqing in front of him, and didn't seem to be surprised. He looked at the large tree not far away and said, "Do you want it or that person?" Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Oh, so she was found out? Jun Xiuhan could do it." Gu Chongqing calmly said, "What that person, this person? Cut the crap and hand it over." "I won't give you the bamboo tube." Jun Xiuhan's eyes coldly looked in Gu Jiao's direction. "If you want it, come and get it yourself." Was he trying to provoke her? Gu Jiao glanced at Jun Xiuhan from behind the tree. This Jun Xiuhan gave her an indescribable feeling, as if all her disguises had been seen through by him. Since that was the case, there was no need to continue hiding. Gu Jiao rode Black Wind King out from behind the tree, and stopped beside Gu Chongqing. Her gaze fell on Jun Xiuhan's young and handsome face. "I'm here to get it." She had observed Jun Xiuhan in the barracks, and she believed that Jun Xiuhan had observed her as well. However, this was the first time they had truly met. When Jun Xiuhan saw her standing with the Han family, there was not a trace of surprise in his eyes. So Jun Xiuhan already knew that she was in cahoots with Han Ziyu? How could he tell? "I'll fight you," Gu Jiao said. "I won't fight you," Jun Xiuhan said. Gu Jiao tilted her head and looked at Jun Xiuhan. Jun Xiuhan took off the bamboo tube from his waist and threw it to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao took the bamboo tube and checked the note inside. It was a secret letter. Jun Xiuhan did not use a fake one to deceive her. Gu Jiao was completely confused. Even Gu Chongqing was extremely confused. They were prepared to fight to the death with Jun Xiuhan. But this was it? As if seeing Gu Jiao's confusion, Jun Xiuhan said indifferently, "I owe someone a favor, and now I'm returning it to you." "Who do you owe a favor to that you want to return it to me?" Gu Jiao asked. Jun Xiuhan did not answer. He pulled on the reins and the horse turned around, going back the way they came. But before he could take 2 steps, he suddenly pulled on the reins. "There's killing intent." The next second, there was the sound of something tearing through the air from the other side of the forest. Jun Xiuhan dodged to the side. Gu Chongqing pulled out his sword and blocked the hidden weapon that was aimed at Gu Jiao and himself. Gu Jiao looked at the dart embedded in the tree and said indifferently, "Tang sect, Qi Xian." "Ha ha ha. That's right, it's me." Accompanied by arrogant laughter, Qi Xian led a dozen black-clothed men to descend from the sky. The black-clothed men surrounded the 3 of them. In order to avoid making too much noise and being noticed by the examiners, they did not ride horses. They all used qinggong to sneak into the forest. Jun Xiuhan's horse was forced to take several steps back, standing with Gu Chongqing and Gu Jiao. "We meet again," Qi Xian said to Gu Jiao with a smile. Then his gaze fell on Gu Chongqing's face. "It's you." Gu Chongqing was riding a black wind steed. Only 3 people entered the forest on black wind steeds. 5th Master Han's new Black Wind King, Gu Jiao's old Black Wind King, and Han Ziyu's steed. Qi Xian laughed coldly. It seems that the Crown Prince made a mistake this time. He actually allowed a spy to sneak into his residence. "Unfortunately, you're unlucky to have run into me. Today, I'll settle the score with you for severing Han Ye's leg tendons." Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Oh, your leg's healed?" At the mention of this, Qi Xian's face darkened. Back in the forest, this brat had said 1, 2, 3, and then they would fight. In the end, as soon as he shouted 1, he stabbed his thigh with a spear. Stabbing wasn't enough. He even twisted his thigh, almost causing him to die from the pain. Qi Xian threatened coldly, "Xiao Lulang, don't be too proud. No matter how many times you stabbed me with your spear, I'll return it 10 times over." Jun Xiuhan said expressionlessly, "That's your business. I'm leaving." Qi Xian snorted. "You're unlucky. Today's matter cannot be known to anyone." In other words, he was going to kill Jun Xiuhan to silence him. Jun Xiuhan's identity was easy to guess. Among the 6 people, Jun Xiuhan was the most unfamiliar. Even without guessing, it was obvious that he was the poor student from Jianan Academy. Qi Xian didn't take this kind of small fry seriously. Gu Chongqing rode his horse in front of Gu Jiao, blocking Qi Xian's view. He said to Gu Jiao, "You go first. I'll settle this with him." Gu Jiao didn't hesitate and led Black Wind King out of the encirclement. Qi Xian said disdainfully, "Want to run? Chase after them." Two men in black jumped and slashed at Gu Jiao's back with their swords. Gu Chongqing turned around and slashed out a sharp sword aura, slashing the two men down from the air. On the other side, the battle between Taoist Qingfeng and Fifth Master Han had reached its climax. Fifth Master Han gradually felt that things were getting tricky. Although he wasn't at a disadvantage, his internal energy couldn't hold on much longer. Although he didn't want to admit it, Taoist Qingfeng's martial arts were indeed above his. Taoist Qingfeng only used 50% of his strength. If he wanted to tie with Taoist Qingfeng, he would have to use 70% of his strength. As a result, he naturally wore out his energy faster. The two of them punched each other again and retreated. Fifth Master Han's silky silver hair had already turned into a wooden brush. He panted and said, "You're a monk. Can't you compete with me fair and square? Why did you have to use such a despicable method like stealing my secret letter?" Taoist Qingfeng said strangely, "Stealing your secret letter? I didn't." Fifth Master Han said coldly, "You're still lying. Someone saw it." Taoist Qingfeng was naturally stunned. "Mu Qingchen? I've only seen him before you." Fifth Master Han was stunned. If someone else said this, he would think that they were lying, but Taoist Qingfeng, he frowned. "You didn't go to Huang Shipo just now?" "No," Taoist Qingfeng said. Fifth Master Han said, "You didn't steal my secret letter either?" Taoist Qingfeng said, "My secret letter is mine." Fifth Master Han was stunned again. "Yours?" "Yes." Taoist Qingfeng nodded and took the bamboo tube from his waist. The moment he took it, he sensed that something was wrong. He had made a mark on his bamboo tube, but this one was unmarked. "What's wrong?" "My bamboo tube has been replaced." Fifth Master Han walked over to him suspiciously. Taoist Qingfeng opened the bamboo tube. The note inside had already been taken away by Gu Jiao. It was empty. Fifth Master Han pondered for a moment and reached out to Taoist Qingfeng. "Give me the bamboo tube. I have a way." Taoist Qingfeng gave it to him without hesitation. Fifth Master Han frowned. "Aren't you afraid that I'll take your bamboo tube and run away?" Taoist Qingfeng glanced at him. "I can take it back." Fifth Master Han couldn't refute. "This is a military messenger tube. To prevent anyone from tampering with it, a message is left on the inside of the tube." As he spoke, he opened the bamboo tube and took out a fire roll to warm the outside of the bamboo tube. Not long after, a line of small words appeared on the inner wall of the bamboo tube. "Enter the Pine Mountain Range and ambush the enemy camp near the Purple Grass Pond. Seize the secret letter and deliver it to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp. Personally hand it over to the left Deputy General of the garrison." Fifth Master Han wasn't too surprised. He guessed that they were going to deliver the secret letter to different fire beacon camps. "This should be Mu Qingchen's," said Fifth Master Han. Only Mu Qingchen and Taoist Qingfeng were going to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp. If it wasn't Taoist Qingfeng's, then it could only be Mu Qingchen's. Taoist Qingfeng suddenly said, "Huh? His mission is different from mine." Fifth Master Han looked at him in confusion. "What's your mission?" Taoist Qingfeng read out the contents of the letter from his memory. "I'm a spy. I'm going to deliver the secret letter to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp." Fifth Master Han pondered. "Only Xiao Luleng got close to you just now. If your bamboo tube was switched, then it must be Xiao Liulong's doing. Strange. Why did he steal your bamboo tube? Don't we all have our own missions?" Taoist Qingfeng thought for a moment and said, "Maybe it's because my secret letter is the only real one?" "The real letter?" Fifth Master Han was even more confused. Taoist Qingfeng did not shy away from reading out his mission. "You are a Turkic spy. This is the real secret letter from the Turkic army. Quickly take the only secret letter to the 3rd Fire Beacon Camp and personally hand it to the right Deputy General of the rebel army in the camp." After that, he and Fifth Master Han fell silent. The two of them finally realized that something was wrong. Han Ziyu, Mu Qingchen, and I have similar missions. The only difference is that we're going to rob different places and destinations. The three of us are all cavalrymen. If the secret letter in your hand is the real one, then the one we robbed from the enemy camp is fake. No wonder Xiao Lulang stole your secret letter. Only your secret letter can complete the mission. No, Taoist Qingfeng said. If there are 3 cavalrymen, then there should be 3 spies. You cavalrymen have the same mission, so we spies must have the same mission. The secret letter in my hand is not the only real one. The secret letters in the hands of the 3 spies are all real. Your cavalry's mission is to obtain all 3 secret letters, while our spy's mission is to destroy the other 2 secret letters, and turn our secret letter into the only one that exists. Fifth Master Han said slowly. We know that the 3 cavalrymen are me, Han Ziyu, and Mu Qingchen. Then the 3 spies are you, Xiao Lulang, and Jun Xiuhan. Taoist Qingfeng said. Yes. Fifth Master Han frowned. Xiao Lulang must have stolen your secret letter for this reason. But how did he know? Who would suspect that there was a hidden mission in the first place? He and Taoist Qingfeng had only guessed the truth after comparing the 4 people's bamboo tubes. Taoist Qingfeng looked at the blue sky and said seriously, maybe he's a genius. Fifth Master Han. I'm going to find Xiao Lulang. See you later. Fifth Master Han rode on the black demon horse and quickly disappeared while Taoist Qingfeng was in a daze. Taoist Qingfeng also planned to chase after him. Although his secret letter might have been destroyed by Xiao Lulang, it didn't matter. This selection actually had a hidden trigger. That was, the identities of the 6 people could be changed at any time. When they drew lots, they didn't register each person's identity and destination. This meant that it wasn't important. What was important was who completed the mission in the bamboo tube. If he stole Xiao Liulang's secret letter and delivered it to the number 1 fire beacon camp, he could still complete the mission. Taoist Qingfeng thought of the key point and immediately mounted his horse. Unfortunately, before he set off, a chuckle came from the big tree in front of him. Liao Chenzue was lying on a lush branch. He supported his head with one hand and held a wine pot with the other. He raised his head and drank a mouthful of wine. His delicate Adam's apple moved. His monk robes were ascetic, but his peach blossom eyes exuded a breathtaking aura. The mole under his eye gave him a natural temptation. It was as if he could be a Buddha who delivered all living beings from torment or a demon who brought chaos to the world. He smiled and said, I'm lonely. Why don't you have a drink with me, Taoist? Gu Jiao rode on Black Wind King and galloped. Actually, just now, she had already guessed the hidden trigger. The identities of the 6 people could be changed, so even if she destroyed the other 2 secret letters, it didn't mean that she could rest easy. She had to complete the mission as soon as possible. First, she had to get out of the forest as soon as possible. It would be much safer once she was on the official road. Nobody would dare to openly assassinate her. However, just as Gu Jiao was about to walk out of the forest, Fifth Master Han rode on his black demon horse and rushed over from the side. Gu Jiao felt an extremely powerful murderous aura. Her eyes turned cold as she suddenly pulled out the red tasseled spear on her back and blocked Black Wind King's head. A crisp sound of collision was heard, and sparks flew everywhere. It was a dagger. If Gu Jiao had reacted a little slower, Black Wind King's head would have been pierced by the dagger. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. To shoot a person, first shoot the horse. As expected of the Han family's fierce general, Gu Jiao hung the red tasseled spear on the saddle's special slot and grabbed the big bow on her back. She took out 3 arrows from the quiver and mercilessly shot them at Fifth Master Han. Fifth Master Han cut all the arrows with his sword. At the same time, his horse completely blocked in front of Gu Jiao and Black Wind King. Xiao Lulang, hand over your secret letter. Fifth Master Han's reply was another round of arrows from Gu Jiao. Fifth Master Han didn't expect Gu Jiao to be so ruthless and decisive. She didn't waste any words and just attacked. Fifth Master Han was shocked by the killing intent in the youth's eyes. He narrowed his eyes and swung out a sharp sword aura, instantly shattering Gu Jiao's arrows into pieces. Gu Jiao raised her hand and pulled off the cloak on her body. The youth was wearing red battle clothes and black iron armor. She jumped down from the horse's back. Fifth Master Han felt the youth's powerful aura, but in the next second, he was shocked by the braided red-tasseled spear in the youth's hand. Where did this weapon come from? It was so eye-catching. Although it was eye-catching, the strength of the spear shocked Fifth Master Han once again. Fifth Master Han's black demon horse trembled. Fifth Master Han frowned and blocked Gu Jiao's red-tasseled spear with his sword. Then he jumped off his horse and slashed at Gu Jiao with his sword. Gu Jiao blocked the sword, and both her arms were slightly numb. No wonder she could fight Taoist priest Qingfeng for so long. It wasn't that Taoist priest Qingfeng went easy on her, but this guy was really strong. Fifth Master Han said coldly, "Xiao Lulang, you're no match for me. According to today's rules, I can't kill you, but I have 100 ways to torture you. So you'd better hand over the secret letter obediently, or else you'll suffer." Fifth Master Han was already very difficult to deal with. If Taoist priest Qingfeng came, she had no chance of winning. She had to end this quickly. Gu Jiao didn't hesitate anymore. She looked coldly at Fifth Master Han. Under his confused gaze, she took off the safety talisman on her neck. "Boss, catch." She threw the safety talisman to Black Wind King. Black Wind King caught it with his mouth. "What's this kid doing?" Fifth Master Han looked at Gu Jiao strangely. Gu Jiao's fingertip lightly scratched the sharp edge of the red-tasseled spear, and a string of bright red blood flowed out. She wiped the droplet of blood on her lips. In the next second, her aura suddenly surged. Fifth Master Han's expression changed. "This is..." Gu Jiao pulled out the red-tasseled spear, took a step forward, and jumped up. With a flip in the air, the spear in her hand was like a dragon, and it fiercely slashed at Fifth Master Han. Fifth Master Han's black iron sword was split in half on the spot. She knelt on one knee, one hand on the ground, and the other hand holding the red-tasseled spear behind her back. Her eyes were bloodshot. She was no longer the handsome young man. She was a killing god, a demon, and an Azura. Fifth Master Han threw away his long sword, changed his palm into a fist, and attacked Gu Jiao's vital point. Gu Jiao used the red-tasseled spear as leverage and jumped up high again. Her right knee was aimed at Fifth Master Han's chin. Fifth Master Han was sent flying. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. 3 moves. The young man defeated him. In just 3 moves. But Fifth Master Han wouldn't admit defeat so easily. If he couldn't beat the young man, then he would kill his horse. Fifth Master Han shot a hidden weapon in his sleeve at Black Wind King. Almost at the same time, Fifth Master Han shot a second hidden weapon at Gu Jiao. She could only protect one between herself and Black Wind King. Gu Jiao didn't hesitate to protect Black Wind King. The hidden weapon flashed past Gu Jiao's temple. The hidden weapon didn't hurt Gu Jiao, but the poisonous powder on it entered Gu Jiao's eyes. Gu Jiao couldn't see. Aha. Ha 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 ha. Fifth Master Han spat out blood as he laughed crazily on the ground. "Xiao Lulang, so what if you defeated me? You were still poisoned by the Tang sect. You can't see, you can't even walk out of this forest. How are you going to go to the Fire Beacon camp?" The angry Black Wind King stood in front of Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao was on the verge of losing control, but thanks to the pain in her eyes, she regained a bit of her consciousness. "Boss, give me the safety talisman." She reached out her hand. Black Wind King placed the safety talisman in Gu Jiao's palm. Gu Jiao put the safety talisman back around her neck. Her eyes hurt. They were also afraid of light. She couldn't open her eyes. Master's wife should be able to cure this poison. She felt Black Wind King's killing intent, but now wasn't the time for revenge. Black Wind King had to conserve his strength. "Boss," she called out to Black Wind King. She closed her eyes and gently comforted Black Wind King's emotions, trying to calm herself down. Black Wind King knelt down considerately, allowing Gu Jiao to ride easily. Gu Jiao touched the saddle and sat on it. Black Wind King stood up. Gu Jiao untied the headband on her head and covered her eyes with the headband with both hands. Fifth Master Han was so injured that he couldn't move, but when he saw Gu Jiao like this, he couldn't help but mock. "What? You still want to deliver the secret letter in this state? Can you see the road?" Gu Jiao held the reins and straightened her back. "I can't see, but boss can." Fifth Master Han sneered. "Boss, You mean this old Black Wind King? I admit that it's an excellent warhorse, but it's a pity that it has never been to the Fire Beacon camp in the Han family's 15 years. It doesn't need to go, Gu Jiao said. It was born in the Fire Beacon camp. In the first Fire Beacon camp, Xianyuan Li's temporary courtyard. It lived there until it was a year old before it was taken back to the Xianyuan family's mansion. Gu Jiao bent down and gently stroked Black Wind King's mane. Can you remember, boss? You must remember, just like how you remember your master. The Black Wind Cavalry didn't belong to the Han family. This dangerous 300 miles was not the road to pass the level, but the road to bring the Black Wind Cavalry home. The Black Wind Cavalry had been waiting for this day for a long time. Bring the Black Wind Cavalry home, boss. Fifth Master Han sneered. Xiao Lulang, don't waste your time. You won't be able to walk out of this forest. You. Before he could finish speaking, he saw the Black Wind Cavalry let out a long howl towards the sky. It suddenly raised its front hooves, and like an arrow leaving a bow, it rushed towards the northeast with Gu Jiao. That direction was the first Fire Beacon camp. Fifth Master Han was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Xiao Lulang. It's useless. Your horse is already old. It can't run 300 miles. It has to rest every 30 miles. Taoist Qingfeng will catch up to you. The Han family will also catch up to you. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Torrential rain poured down like a pillar. Black Wind King galloped through the hail like rain. It had already galloped for 100 miles without stopping. It wanted to bring the Black Wind Cavalry home, and it also wanted to bring Gu Jiao home. Digression. The Black Wind Cavalry babies are going home in the next chapter. Oh, please give me a monthly ticket. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964226/1065555041. HTML Genius memorized this website's address. www.zhbqg.com Bikugo mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 765. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. Fifth Master. Fifth Master. The Han family's men of sacrifice found Fifth Master Han, who had almost lost his body temperature from the rain. Although it was summer, the Songshan mountain range was very high and the temperature was lower than other places. With the terrible storm, the heavily injured Fifth Master Han almost lost his life. If it wasn't for the Black Devil King using his body to block some of the wind and rain, he probably wouldn't have survived until the Han family found him. The leader of the men of sacrifice helped Fifth Master Han sit up, and took off his cloak to wrap around him. Fifth Master. Fifth Master Han couldn't stop trembling. He couldn't feel his hands and feet, and even the muscles on his cheeks were almost numb. Originally, with his strength, he shouldn't have been defeated so quickly. On one hand, he didn't use all his strength. Another important reason was that he seemed to see a familiar figure when Xiao Lulang attacked him. It was a figure that he couldn't remove from his mind in this life, the next life, and the life after that. His mind was in a daze, and his body froze. He couldn't use his internal energy to block Xiao Liulang's attack, and in the end he fell into Xiao Liulang's trap. He didn't lose to martial arts, but to his own heart and emotions. The men of sacrifice said worriedly, "I'll take you back now. Don't worry about me." Fifth Master Han used the last of his strength to open his numb lips and said, "Go chase Xiao Lulang. First Fire Beacon Battalion." This group of men of sacrifice wasn't with Qi Xian. Qi Xian led Han Ye's men, and he was secretly helping the property management under the orders of the family head. They didn't know that Qi Xian was also here. But they had one thing in common. and that was that they didn't ride horses. Go ride my horse. Xiao Lulang was eager to end the battle. He had used all his strength to attack Xiao Lulang, and his body was already exhausted. Moreover, he could not see. As long as the Han family's men of sacrifice could catch up with him, they would be able to severely injure him and take back the secret letter. The leader of the men of sacrifice instructed his companions. You guys take the fifth lord and hurry. I'll chase after Xiao Lulang first. When he caught up, he would deliver the secret letter to fifth lord and escort him to the first fire beacon camp. Yes, the few of them answered. Wait! Fifth grandfather Han stopped him. The suicide soldier said, Fifth lord, do you have any other orders? Fifth grandfather Han said, I have a bottle of medicine for the dark demon horse, if it can't run anymore. Give it 1 pill to recover its stamina. Yes. The kamikaze soldier took out the medicine bottle and turned around to ride the Black Demon King. The Black Demon horse was very uncooperative at first, and the kamikaze soldier fell a few times before he could ride it. This was the result of Fifth Han's carrot and stick approach. However, once the kamikaze soldier took over, the Black Demon King's speed could only be described as lightning. The kamikaze soldier rushed toward the first fire beacon camp without stopping. On the other side, the battle between Taoist Qingfeng and Liao Chen was coming to an end. Liao Chen didn't want to kill anyone today, so he didn't have much killing intent when he attacked. He also held back some of his strength. However, Taoist Qingfeng's every move was deadly. Liao Chen was forced to retreat until his back hit a tree. When he couldn't retreat anymore, Taoist Qingfeng sealed his acupoints with 2 fingers. Liao Chen couldn't move. He sighed and looked at Taoist Qingfeng with a smile. He said in a hurt voice, Taoist Qingfeng, you're so heartless. Taoist Qingfeng's palm hit his vital gate. He really wanted to take his life. Liao Chen clicked his tongue. He activated his vital qi, and the acupoints were unsealed. He tapped his toes and jumped up the tree. He looked at Taoist Qingfeng under the tree with a half-smile. You don't want to do this the hard way? If this continues, I'll have to be serious. Taoist Qingfeng was a cultivator. He had a tough heart and a mild temperament. He wasn't happy with material gains or sad for himself. He had already transcended the secular world. Only Liao Chen could make Taoist Qingfeng so angry that he wanted to kill someone. However, Taoist Qingfeng suppressed his desire to kill Liao Chen today. After all, he had more important things to do. He raised his head and looked at Liao Chen with his beautiful eyes. Come down. I'll drink with you. Liao Chen curled his lips and landed gracefully. Taoist Qingfeng took out a rope from his sleeve and tied Liao Chen up. Liao Chen was speechless. Taoist Qingfeng hung Liao Chen under the tree and turned around to mount his horse. Liao Chen swayed under the tree like a small silkworm. He looked at Taoist Qingfeng's back and curled his red lips. He said with a smile, If you dare to leave, I'll tell the world that you're the thief who was watched by thousands of disciples at Baiyun Taoist Temple on a moonlit night a few years ago. Taoist Qingfeng was about to explode. It was raining cats and dogs. The Black Demon horse kept chasing in the rain. It was very young and had a lot of stamina. It also had better endurance than ordinary war horses. It ran tirelessly, leaving the Mount Song mountain range far behind. The lightning didn't stop it. It was like the bravest warrior, chasing after its enemy without caring about the consequences. It's not enough. The man of sacrifice grabbed the reins and wiped the rain off his face. They had already run for nearly 100 miles, but the Black Demon horse still didn't show any signs of fatigue. He had never seen such a powerful war horse. However, it still needed to be faster. The man of sacrifice took out the pills that Fifth Master Han had given him and fed one to the Black Demon horse. The Black Demon horse quickly recovered its stamina and sped up a little. Finally, after passing through a small forest, the man of sacrifice heard the sound of hooves coming from ahead. The man of sacrifice was delighted. It was Xiao Lulang. It must be Xiao Lulang. The sky was already dark. The entire world was covered in a heavy downpour. Running on a rainy night was actually a very dangerous thing to do. The cavalry's line of sight was obstructed, so they mostly relied on the warhorse's senses. Normally, warhorses would slow down. Firstly, the cavalry would request it. Secondly, war horses had an instinct to avoid danger. However, the Black Wind King didn't slow down. It was like a bolt of lightning in the rainy night. The man of sacrifice heard the sound of hooves getting farther and farther away. He clenched his teeth. Damn it! We were about to catch up. Why does it feel like the distance has widened again? Hiya! Hiya! The man of sacrifice raised his speed to the maximum, and finally caught up to the Black Wind King. This time, the distance between them was unbelievably close. The man of sacrifice unsheathed the long sword at his waist. He only needed one slash to deal a heavy blow to Xiaolulang. The Black Wind King galloped, all the muscles on its body taut. Just as the man of sacrifice slashed down, it suddenly swerved to the right and charged into the fork in the road ahead. Me. The man of sacrifice slashed down. Because he didn't expect the Black Wind King to suddenly change directions. He didn't even have time to pull the reins and stop. The Black Devil horse was too fast. In the blink of an eye, it was already 100 feet away. If it turned around and chased after the Black Wind King, it would be even harder to catch up. Forget it. You've left the fork, so you'll have to return to the main road. I'll wait for you in front. However, the Black Wind King didn't give him the chance to stop him. When he returned to the main road, he was only a horse's length away. But the Black Wind King had already run ahead. I didn't catch up again. The man of sacrifice was so angry that he didn't feel good. Wasn't it an old horse? How could it run so fast? However, it wasn't all smooth sailing ahead. There were other guards from the Han family guarding the road. When they heard the sound of galloping hooves, they drew their long swords and lined up to block the road. They were ready for battle. The Black Wind King didn't hesitate at all. As if it was breaking through mountains and rivers, it broke through the blockade of the Han family guards. 2 of the Han family guards were sent flying. It was too fast. It was too strong. This wasn't the Black Wind King they knew. The Black Wind King wasn't this strong. One of the bodyguards looked in the direction where the man and the horse had left and shouted, "Cut the rope for me." The cable bridge was in front. The guard guarding the bridge on the other side pulled out his sword and cut the ropes at the end of the bridge. The wooden bridge broke, and the broken parts hit the cliff with a loud noise. There was a distance of 10 feet between the 2 cliffs. No horse could cross it. However, the guards were surprised to find that the Black Wind King didn't slow down. What is it trying to do? It can't be trying to cross it, right? It's courting death. Are the soldiers stupid? Why aren't they stopping it? Hey! A guard shouted at Gu Jiao's back. Your horse is going to jump off the cliff. Stop it before it's too late. They couldn't let Gu Jiao jump. They hadn't gotten the secret letter from Gu Jiao yet. If Gu Jiao fell off the cliff, 5th Master Han wouldn't be able to complete his mission. Stop! You'll die. They sincerely wanted to stop Gu Jiao from falling off the cliff and dying. Gu Jiao couldn't see, but she could still sense. She heard the sound of the bridge breaking, and felt the cold wind from the abyss. However, she didn't stop the Black Wind King. The Black Wind King accelerated. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and grabbed the reins. She clamped the horse's abdomen and stood in the stirrups. The Black Wind King's muscles tensed as it leaped. Almost at the same time, the Black Demon Horse and the Loyalists arrived. The bridge is broken. The bridge is broken. Don't go. The Han family guard shouted. The Loyalists pulled on the reins and stopped the carriage with the Black Demon Horse at the edge of the cliff. They were able to stop the carriage because of the Loyalists and the Black Demon Horse's instinct to avoid danger. The Black Demon Horse retreated a few steps. This was a distance that even the Black Demon Horse couldn't cross. No one dared to look down. The Black Wind King and the cavalrymen were about to fall off the cliff. Ah! A guard shouted. Look. It crossed the cliff. It surpassed its instincts and overcame its fear of the cliff. It crossed a distance that no warhorse had ever been able to challenge. It was the Black Wind King without a doubt. The guards at both ends of the bridge were stunned. For a moment, they didn't even know how to react. The Black Wind King carried Gu Jiao and smoothly ran past the Han family guards. Ah! They ran away. A guard who had been sent flying said while clutching his aching chest. However, no one dared to chase after him. The youth's unreserved trust and the Black Wind King's unwavering struggle showed them the most precious thing on the battlefield. They didn't know what kind of spirit this was, but they felt their hearts being sprinkled with hot blood. They didn't want to chase. At least, not now. Fifth Master Han was right. The 3 moves that Gu Jiao used to defeat him had cost her almost all of her strength. She had never used such an overdraft fighting style in any battle before. But even so, she couldn't kill Han Ci. Han Ci was too strong. Blood flowed up her throat and spilled out from the corner of her mouth. At first, she could still swallow it, but later, she didn't even have the strength to suppress the sweet taste in her throat. Blood flowed all over the Black Wind King's back. She persevered with her willpower. The Black Wind King's situation wasn't much better. A normal horse would have to rest after running at full speed for 20 to 30 kilometers, but cavalry could only travel 70 to 80 kilometers a day. If they forced their way through, they could travel over 100 kilometers, but they still had to rest. Only when the horse ran to its death would it travel over 100 kilometers day and night. 200 kilometers. 250 kilometers. 260 kilometers. The Black Wind King approached his limit again and again. He was so tired that he wanted to collapse, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. At dawn, the rain stopped. The first rays of dawn pierced through the thin clouds in the east, passing over the peaks of the mountains and shining on the empty and quiet camp. Every day, the soldiers were awakened by the beating of the war drums. But today, they were awakened by the sound of hurried horse hooves. They thought it was an enemy attack, but when they came to the entrance of the camp, they saw a black warhorse and a blindfolded youth. A man and a horse came over with the momentum of a magnificent army. The entire mountain and river shook. Gu Jiao successfully handed the bamboo tube to the left deputy general of the garrison. The deputy general looked at the blindfolded youth and couldn't help but wave his hand at the youth. The youth didn't respond. The deputy general of the garrison was stunned. He couldn't see? Then how did he run 300 kilometers to get here? The left deputy general was about to ask Gu Jiao what happened to his eyes when he saw the man and the horse collapse to the ground. The left deputy general was shocked. Men. Call the medical officer. Is it early today? The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_8964286/10653540. HTML Genius memorized this site's address. www.zhhbqg.com. Biku Pavilion mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 766. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. Please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated more quickly. Millions of novels will be read for free. All the novels that cannot be found on the internet are available here. In the hot summer, the cicadas on the trees kept chirping. Gu Jiao woke up to the sound of cicadas. She slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were covered with gauze. She raised her hand to remove the gauze. The dazzling light suddenly shone on her. She subconsciously closed her eyes and tilted her head. When she adjusted to the light, she opened her eyes again. In her blurred vision, she vaguely saw the familiar windowsill, the familiar table, the familiar chair, and the familiar little boy on the ground. There were no classes in the academy today. Little Jing Kong did not go anywhere. He was playing in the room while waiting for Gu Jiao to wake up. It was hot, so Xiaoheng made a mat for him on the ground. As he played, he laid down on the mat. One side of his face was pressed down until it was chubby. Saliva flowed all over the floor, and his little butt stuck up high as he fell asleep. Awake? A man's low voice came from above her head. Gu Jiao blinked and looked up at Xiaoheng. This position was too difficult. Her neck was almost broken. Xiaoheng quickly got up and sat on the edge of the bed. He stretched out his slender hand and touched her forehead. It's not hot anymore. Gu Jiao's vision was still a little blurry, but seeing that he was in a good mood, her eyes lit up. "You're here too," she said. Xiaoheng pulled back his hand and snorted. "What do you mean by, I'm here too? You're the second one to see me." Gu Jiao said seriously. "You're sitting in the wrong position. It's too high. I have to roll my eyes to see you." Xiaoheng listened to her clear words and careful logic and knew that she was fine. She was caught in the rain during the last round of selection. After being sent back to the state preceptor's palace, she had a high fever for 3 days and 3 nights. Her fever only subsided this morning. It was now afternoon. "How are you feeling? How is the Black Wind King?" The two of them asked in unison. Xiaoheng smiled helplessly. "The Black Wind King is fine. Look." As he spoke, he raised his hand and pointed outside the window. Gu Jiao looked up slightly. Unfortunately, she could not see from this angle. Xiaoheng gently helped her sit up. Now he could see everything clearly. The Black Wind King had recovered quite well. His body was wrapped in bandages, and he was enjoying the cool air under a big tree in the courtyard. The Horse King was jumping happily behind it, like an excited baby who had been injected with chicken blood, running here and there. He knew that she would be worried about the Black Wind King, so he brought it to the courtyard so that she could see it as soon as she woke up. "That's great." Gu Jiao smiled. The Black Wind King and Black Gu Black Wine Black Wind King Black. A silent tacit understanding flowed in the eyes of the man and the horse. Gu Jiao understood that it was really fine. The Black Wind King also understood that Gu Jiao was really fine. Gu Jiao paused for a moment, then asked, "By the way, where is Gu Changqing? Is he okay?" Gu Changqing was up against Qi Xian. Qi Xian was an expert from the Tang sect, and he had brought many of the Han family's men of sacrifice with him. Xiaoheng said, "He was slightly injured, but he's fine now. You don't have to worry. Also, Qi Xian is dead." Gu Changqing had killed him with his own hands. He had tried to hurt Gu Jiao time and time again. Gu Changqing would rather die with him than let him go back alive. As for the Han family's men of sacrifice, none of them survived. Also, Gu Changqing asked me to remind you that Jun Xiuhan is an expert. The main reason why Gu Changqing could kill Qi Xian was that Jun Xiuhan had taken care of the Han family's men of sacrifice. Gu Changqing didn't have to be distracted to display his full strength. "Jun Xiuhan," Gu Jiao said thoughtfully. "I owe someone a favor, and I'm returning it to you now." "Who did Jun Xiuhan owe a favor to? Why did he return it to her? Don't you care about yourself?" Xiaoheng looked at her seriously. "Ah." Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. "What about me?" Xiaoheng took a deep breath and told himself not to get angry. "Do you know that you had a high fever for 3 days and almost lost your sight?" Gu Jiao was confused for a moment, then nodded. "Oh, I think so. I would have forgotten if you didn't mention it. Fifth Master Han used a dirty trick and poisoned me. But I can see now." It was just that she couldn't see clearly. Xiaoheng said, "Madame Nen came and detoxified the poison for you. Your eyes will slowly recover. Don't run around before that." Gu Jiao opened her mouth. "I know what you want to ask." Xiaoheng knew her too well. She didn't care about herself at all. She was worried about others. Xiaoheng said, "Gu Changqing's antidote is almost ready. It's not a difficult poison to detoxify. It's just that some of the herbs are troublesome to dry in the sun. He'll go get it in 3 days. Can you be completely relieved now?" Gu Jiao opened her mouth again. Xiaoheng sighed. "It's not exposed. There are no side effects. Everything is very good." Gu Jiao hummed and said happily, "Mistress, you're really amazing." Xiaoheng was angry and amused. He lowered his head and chuckled helplessly. Then he held one of her hands and raised his hand to tidy up her hair. "You're amazing too, my commander-in-chief." Gu Jiao opened her eyes wide. "Ha!" In the throne room, the ministers had different opinions about appointing Xiao Lulang as the new commander-in-chief of the Black Wind Battalion. "Your Majesty, I don't think it's appropriate." The governor came out with the ceremonial tablet in his hand. Dong Wei, the minister of the Ministry of Justice, asked, "Lord Su, what's wrong with it?" The governor's surname was Su. He was the old master of the Su family and Mu Qingchen's grandfather. He said coldly, How can the Yan dynasty appoint a man from the Zhao kingdom as the commander-in-chief? Dongwei said, he has been adopted by Dukan. He's from the Yan dynasty. That's still inappropriate. Old Master Su objected firmly. Dongwei bowed to the monarch on the throne and said seriously to Old Master Su, the selection of the commander-in-chief of the Black Wind Battalion was proposed by His Majesty and agreed by all the aristocratic families. All the family heads and civil and military officials know the rules very well. They didn't object earlier or later, and only objected after the selection. Is it because Lord Su can't afford to lose? Old Master Su snorted coldly. How can an adopted son count? He's not Dukan's son. Dongwei smiled. But I remember that an adopted son of the Su family also participated in the selection. Of the 2 places of the Su family, one was given to Mu Qingchen, and the other was a master invited from outside. Of course, the master was not there to compete for the first place, but to exhaust the opponents for Mu Qingchen. Everyone knew that this was a routine operation of the selection, but they didn't say anything. The Su clan's old master was rendered speechless. The monarch said impatiently, "Okay, stop arguing." He had a headache because of the quarrel. Not only were these stubborn old men depressed, but he was also very depressed. He didn't want anyone to advance from the beginning. He was prepared to recall the Black Wind Cavalry, but who knew that someone would actually pass? How did this Xiao Lulang pass the selection? How did he guess the mission hidden in the secret letter? And what were 5th Master Han and Feng Wuming of the Feng family doing? They couldn't even stop a brat from the Zhao country? He would rather the Feng family take away the military power than let the Duke N's mansion take advantage of it. However, he was the monarch of a country. His words were golden, and he couldn't change them. He was crazy, he was tyrannical, but he had a good reason for doing so. He was only good at using the heaviest punishment to measure the lightest mistake, but it didn't mean that he would punish people if they didn't make a mistake. Those were all private operations that couldn't be done in public. Han Lei, the monarch said irritably. This minister is here. Han Lei took a step forward while holding the ceremonial tablet. The monarch's heart was bleeding. He held back his anger and reluctantly said, "Send the Black Wind Battalion's commander flag, commander seal, and token to Xiao Lulang of the Duke N's mansion." Han Lei painfully said, "Yes." After the Mu family lost 200,000 soldiers, the Han family also lost 50,000 Black Wind cavalry. Gu Jiao got up from the bed. There were no female disciples in the state preceptor hall. These days, Sheng Guanyan's palace maid changed her clothes for her. Today, the palace maid was not here, so Xiao Heng had a rare opportunity to take care of his wife. Gu Jiao sat on the bed. Xiao Heng stood behind her and tied her hair. She was dressed as a teenager, so her hair was gently tied with a hairband. But her hands, Gu Jiao bitterly looked at her 2 big bare paws wrapped with thick gauze. "Isn't it too exaggerated?" Xiao Heng said. "The state preceptor personally tied it for you. He said it wasn't exaggerated." Gu Jiao curled her lips. What Xiao Heng didn't say was that her hand had been holding the reins for too long. Her palm was bruised and bloody. After it dried, it stuck to the reins. The doctor didn't know where to start and cut the reins. She and the horse were sent to the state preceptor hall for the state preceptor to treat. The reason why she was sent to the state preceptor hall was because the state preceptor said that he was willing to provide treatment for the selected cavalry. If she was injured, she should be sent to the state preceptor hall. Gu Jiao fainted at that time and couldn't remember anything. Fortunately, she fainted, otherwise it would be very painful. Little Jinkong had already been carried to the bed. He changed to a sprawled position and continued to sleep soundly. One side of his face was still imprinted on the mat. Gu Jiao looked at him, then at Black Wind King and Horse King in the courtyard. Then she looked at Xiao Heng, who was treating her gently. The room was very quiet, and the cicadas were very noisy. But somehow, her heart was very happy and peaceful. She lifted the thin blanket on her body with her big bare paws wrapped in gauze, and got out of bed. Just as she took a step, her legs went soft, and she fell down with a plop. Xiao Heng hurriedly reached out to catch her, but she fell too fast and the inertia was too great. He couldn't catch her, so he had to jump forward, hold her and fall down with her. He fell heavily on the cold and hard floor. Are you okay? He hugged her tightly and asked. Gu Jiao lay on his body and shook her head. I'm fine. How about you? Are you hurt? Am I very heavy? Xiao Heng was still in a protective position. He held her waist with one hand and covered her head with the other. He smiled gently. I'm not in pain. Also, you're not heavy either. Gu Jiao asked strangely. Why are my legs so soft? She didn't expect it at all. Xiao Heng said softly. You used too much strength. You didn't rest for a day and night. You've been riding a horse all this time. It would be strange if your legs didn't go soft. Gu Jiao rested her head on Xiao Heng's strong chest and said with a long sigh. My legs don't feel like they belong to me. I can't even move my toes. Husband, you're really amazing. Xiao Heng, who didn't drive but was hit by the car, was speechless. Yu He, who just came to the door with the medicine, was also speechless. Digression. The second night watch is also very early. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is also updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are free to read. There are novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_8964286/1065343002. HTML Genius memorized the website address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Bikugo mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 767. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all here. Gu Jiao was very careful in the state teacher hall, using a young man's voice. Her identity as a woman was not exposed. But it was better to expose her identity. Two grown men acting like this, He was about to go crazy. What did he do wrong? Why did he have to bump into this kind of thing again and again? He really didn't want to know the relationship between the imperial grandson and young Master Xiao. You even called him young Master Xiao. Are you two playing this big? Also, young Master Xiao, your martial strength is so high, but you're actually the one below? Did you forget that you're already the new commander of the Black Wind Cavalry? Is this how you celebrate your promotion and wealth? Also, imperial grandson, you're someone who's about to die. Don't you know how to take it easy? No, you two should take it easy. One is a patient, the other is an injured person, even if it's an injury. He was already unable to look at Gu Jiao and Xiao Heng. He stood at the door, not knowing if he should leave or not. Xiao Heng turned his head and saw Yu He, who looked like he was struck by lightning. His body stiffened, but he didn't immediately push Gu Jiao away. Instead, he hugged her even more tightly. He raised his wide sleeves to tightly cover Gu Jiao's little head, and then gave Yu He a look that said, "You'll see for yourself." "Is someone coming?" Gu Jiao asked. "It's fine," Xiao Heng said calmly. Yu He's mouth twitched. "Your Highness Imperial Grandson, your skills are already this high? Last time you even blushed." Then they quickly separated. "Now you're treating me like a pumpkin." Yu He was crazily cursing in his heart. His image as a gentleman was about to collapse. See no evil, see no evil. Yu He closed his eyes again and groped his way into the room. He placed the medicine on the table and groped his way out again. This kind of thing was unfamiliar the first time, but familiar the second time. He didn't bump into the pillar. Yu He and the others had already walked far away. Xiao Heng's ears were a bit red. He was thin-skinned, so how could he remain indifferent after being seen? But compared to pushing her away, it was better to let Yu He look at him. Thinking of her words just now, Xiao Heng was both angry and amused. "Why are you so naughty?" Gu Jiao was addicted to acting. She showed an exaggerated expression and said, "Men, you should put out the fire you started." Xiao Heng. Gu Jiao had a small notebook, and she wrote down one stroke after another. Xiao Heng didn't have a notebook, but he remembered everything. Every word she said had to be fulfilled. She even had to calculate the interest, the kind where interest would compound. Gu Jiao did not know that her husband had turned into a big bad wolf, thinking that one day he would eat her up. After drinking the medicine, Gu Jiao felt much more energetic. Her legs were not as sore as before, and she was able to walk a few steps. Xiaoheng felt sorry for her and brought a wheelchair over for her. "Sit on this," Xiaoheng said. Gu Jiao thought for a moment and sat on it. It was her first time sitting on it, so it was strange. "Where are you going?" "I'll push." Before he could finish his words, Xiaoheng saw someone using a big bear paw wrapped in gauze to push the wheelchair and race down the corridor. "Xiaoheng." Gu Jiao raced all the way to the courtyard. The courtyard was full of grass, so it was not easy for the wheelchair to move. The Horse King ran over and looked at Gu Jiao curiously. "Push me over," Gu Jiao said to the Horse King. The Horse King went behind Gu Jiao, put its head on the back of the wheelchair, and pushed Gu Jiao in front of the Black Wind King. Gu Jiao looked up and stretched out her hand. "Boss!" The Black Wind King raised one of his hooves. One person and one horse friend shook hands. Of hooves. Both the Black Wind King and Gu Jiao needed to rest. The Black Wind King obediently stayed in the courtyard, but Gu Jiao was not so obedient. She used the reins to tie the Horse King. She didn't have a sled dog, but she had a wheelchair horse. The Horse King pulled Gu Jiao and ran around the State Teacher Palace. Half an hour later, the State Teacher Palace's wheelchair was broken. One person and one horse sat on the garden path. Next to them was the broken wheelchair, and one of the wheels was missing. One person and one horse were covered in grass, but their expressions were the same, innocent. When Yi Qing rushed over with the new wheelchair, seeing the mess, he wanted to say something. Gu Jiao complained first. "The quality of your State Teacher Palace's wheelchair is not good. It needs to be improved in the future." Yi Qing heard from Yu He that young Master Xiao woke up, so he came over for his master to see how he was recovering, and whether there were any side effects. But then he saw someone crazily racing around the State Teacher Palace. He couldn't even stop him. Then he heard a loud noise. Yi Qing helped Gu Jiao back to the new wheelchair. Gu Jiao looked at the Horse King. The Horse King suddenly became energetic. Yi Qing's eyelids fiercely twitched. "Young Master Xiao, you need to rest more. You can't walk around." Gu Jiao. "Oh." She didn't plan on not walking around. At this time, the Black Wind King slowly walked over and took the Horse King away. The Horse King didn't want to leave, but the 2.5-year-old Horse King couldn't beat the Black Wind King. With one of the two troublemakers finally gone, Yi Qing was secretly relieved. Speaking of which, he didn't know young Master Xiao was so naughty before. Sure enough, people can't stay idle. Yi Qing went behind Gu Jiao, pushed the wheelchair with both hands, and said to Gu Jiao, "I'll send young Master Xiao back to the Qilin Palace." Gu Jiao hurriedly said, "Wait, I'm not going back to the Qilin Palace yet. Where is your master?" Yi Qing truthfully said, "Master is in the purple bamboo forest." Gu Jiao, "And take me to your master." "Master may not necessarily see you. He's busy right now." "Forget it. I'll send you to the purple bamboo forest first, so you and little Shi don't get together and cause trouble." Yi Qing pushed Gu Jiao in the direction of the purple bamboo forest. Gu Jiao raised her hand to cover her eyes. "Is your eyes uncomfortable?" Yi Qing noticed her movements. Gu Jiao said, "Under the strong light for too long, it's a bit prickly." Yi Qing called out to a passing disciple, "Senior brother." The disciple respectfully saluted. "Go get an umbrella," Yi Qing ordered. Yes. The disciple quickly went to the nearest courtyard to get an umbrella. "Senior brother here." Yi Qing took the umbrella, opened it, and held it with one hand and pushed the wheelchair with the other. He had martial arts, so pushing with one hand wasn't hard at all. Gu Jiao secretly sighed. Yi Qing was quite considerate and good-looking. Did he have a girlfriend? Should I introduce one? The two entered the purple bamboo forest. The disciple in the small bamboo house was currently sweeping the front yard. The front yard seemed to have an endless amount of fallen leaves. Every time Gu Jiao came, she would see this disciple sweeping the yard. "Senior brother." The disciple saw Yi Qing, put down the broom, and respectfully saluted. Then he also greeted Gu Jiao. Young Master Xiao. Is Master done? Yi Qing asked. Not yet. The disciple said. Yi Qing hesitated, but still said to the disciple, Go tell her that young Master Xiao is here. Yes. The disciple put down the broom, walked up the steps, took off his shoes, opened the half-curtain, and entered the house. Not long after, the disciple came out and respectfully said, Master invites young Master Xiao in. Yi Qing deeply looked at Gu Jiao. Coincidentally, Gu Jiao also looked back at him. For eyes met, Gu Jiao asked puzzledly, Why are you looking at me like that? Yi Qing said, You are the first to make Master break the rules again and again. Gu Jiao touched her chin. That's because your Master and I both came from another time and space, so we can be considered half of the same hometown. Yi Qing pushed the wheelchair into the yard, and the disciple laid a wooden board on the steps to facilitate the wheelchair. The state preceptor was not in the central room. Come in. The state preceptor's voice came from the study. Yi Qing pushed the person into the study, and said to the state preceptor who was organizing the treasure, Master, disciple will leave first. The state preceptor faintly replied. Yi Qing turned and left the house. The study was similar to what Gu Jiao saw last time. Children's toys, rolled-up portraits, polished clay figurines. The state preceptor was currently wiping a little person on a clay figurine. The one sitting alone in a row seemed to have a very different status. The relationship between people was always progressing and getting along. There were some things that Gu Jiao would not ask before, but now she asked smoothly. Are these three little people you, Xianyuanli, and the state preceptor? No. The state preceptor said. Huh. Gu Jiao looked at him in surprise. The state preceptor stopped wiping the clay figurine and said, There is no state preceptor. Oh, then there are you and Xianyuanli. Gu Jiao looked at the little clay figurine and said, I am very curious. Who is the person who can sit with you and Xianyuanli? It seems that his status is very different. A very important person, a teacher and a friend, the state preceptor said. Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. The evaluation was a bit high. The state preceptor put the clay figurine back on the shelf and put down the rag in his hand. He turned and looked at Gu Jiao. You seem to be recovering well. Gu Jiao said. It's okay, my legs are a bit weak. My eyes are a bit sensitive to light, and I can't use my hands. Other than that, I am fine. The state preceptor nodded. These will slowly recover, provided that you stay in the house and don't run around. It seemed that the state preceptor had also heard the news of someone racing in the state preceptor hall. Gu Jiao decisively changed the topic. I came here today to talk to you about something. Speak. The state preceptor said. Gu Jiao said seriously. It is about what you promised me last time. You said that as long as I win the Black Wind Cavalry, you will tell me the whole truth. It is time for you to fulfill your promise. The state preceptor picked up a scroll and slowly opened it. It was a portrait of Jing Yining. He looked at the portrait and said, Last time you asked me what my relationship with Jing Yining was. But I think that you did your best not just to know my relationship with Jing Yining. You want to know more about Jing Yining. Gu Jiao also glanced at the portrait. That's right, I am very curious about Jing Yining. The state preceptor raised his eyes and looked at her with a complicated expression. Have you ever thought about why you are curious about a stranger? This question stunned Gu Jiao. Yes, why did she like Jing Yining? The state preceptor said. You are Jing Yining. Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. The state preceptor did not keep her in suspense and did not beat around the bush. He simply put the facts in front of her. You are Jing Yining and Jing Yining is you. Gu Jiao blinked and said, How is that possible? The state preceptor put the portrait back and said, Think about your medicine box and your experience. What is impossible? Gu Jiao was silent. Chapter 768. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. There are all kinds of novels that can't be found online. It's not impossible. He put all kinds of things of Jing Yining in the study, and pretended to be very concerned about Jing Yining. Then he tricked her by telling her that she was Jing Yining. He used this to win her over, and make her work for the state preceptor hall. This guess is very reasonable. Moreover, that guy was obviously holding back. He still had things he didn't say. Whether she was Jing Yining or not, she would verify it herself. She didn't have to believe him just because he said it. It wasn't because she didn't want to guard against him that she didn't believe a word he said. The disciple of the small bamboo house wanted to send Gu Jiao off, but Gu Jiao refused. She wanted to be alone. When she pushed the wheelchair out of the purple bamboo forest with her clumsy bare paws, Xiao Heng, who had been waiting outside for a long time, quickly walked over. "I'll do it," Xiao Heng said. "Oh." Gu Jiao let go of the wheelchair and put her bare paws on her lap. She was thinking about something when she came out and forgot to take an umbrella. The sun was so strong that it hurt her eyes. Suddenly, the light above her head dimmed. Xiao Heng opened an oil paper umbrella over her head. Xiao Heng said softly, "Master's wife said that your eyes might be a little afraid of light these days." Gu Jiao's heart warmed. Her husband was so considerate. She reached for the umbrella. "I'll do it myself. You can push the wheelchair." Xiao Heng rejected her hand. "I still have this bit of strength." Gu Jiao thought of the young and powerful body she felt when she pressed down on him. It was indeed not as thin as it was before. "Did you secretly train behind my back?" Not only did he have abs, but he also had small pecs. There were also smooth lines on his arms. They weren't exaggerated and were just tight. Xiao Heng didn't even lift his eyelids. He was calm and didn't seem to use any strength. "How is that possible? I don't even have enough time to study." The wheelchair was really heavy. It was indeed strenuous to use one hand. "But I can't let my wife know that I can't do it. A man can't not do it. From tonight onwards, I'll have an extra hour of training every night." Xiao Heng used all his strength to push Gu Jiao back to the Qilin Hall. Just as he reached the entrance, he ran into Duke Ngua and Second Master Jing, who were coming out from inside. While Gu Jiao was unconscious, Ngua Gong came to visit her every day. The fact that Gu Jiao was his adopted son had long been known to everybody, so he didn't have to hide it. Besides, he could also visit the crown princess in passing, but he had to be more cautious. After all, he and the crown princess were the remnants of the Xianyuan family. He had just finished greeting the crown princess when he heard that Gu Jiao had woken up and was out for a walk. He couldn't wait to come over and look for her. His luck was pretty good. Second Master Jing said in astonishment, "You guys are back? My big brother is just about to look for Lulang." Lulang? Why are you in a wheelchair?" Gu Jiao said. Xiao Heng was afraid that she would say something vicious again, so he hurriedly said, "Lulang just woke up. His body is still very weak. In addition, the weather is so hot. It's easy to get heat stroke if you walk too much." "That's true." Second Master Jing accepted this explanation. Duke Ngua's anxious gaze fell on Gu Jiao. He dipped his fingertips into the wet cloth on the armrest and wrote on it, "How do you feel?" Second Master Jing looked at Duke Ngua's words and said to Gu Jiao, "My big brother is asking how you feel?" Gu Jiao said, "I'm pretty good." Duke Ngua continued to write, "Do your eyes still hurt?" It still hurt a little, but Gu Jiao didn't want to worry Duke Ngua, so she said, "It doesn't hurt anymore. Let's go inside and talk." Xiao Heng said, "It's hot here." The few of them went to Gu Jiao's room. Xiao Heng could tell that Gu Jiao had something to say to Duke Ngua. He could be jealous of small things, but when it came to big things, he wouldn't pester endlessly. He said to Second Master Jing, "Little uncle, I have some books here. I need to go to the library. Can you accompany me?" Second Master Jing looked at the scorching sun that could melt people. He coughed lightly and said, "I want to accompany Big Brother." Duke Ngua, "No, you don't want to." In the end, Second Master Jing was dragged away by Xiao Heng. Xiao Heng really borrowed a lot of books from the library. It was enough for Second Master Jing to carry them several times. "Why do I have to carry them?" Second Master Jing looked at Xiao Heng, who was empty-handed with a face full of resentment. Xiao Heng sighed. I am a sickly person. I don't even have the strength to truss a chicken. How can I be as mighty and majestic as little uncle? Not to mention moving a few books. You can even move a mountain if you ask you to. Second Master Jing. You're quite realistic. Xiao Heng. After Xiao Heng and Second Master Jing left, only Gu Jiao and Dukan Guo were left in the room. Originally, little Jing Kong was there, but before Xiao Heng went to find Gu Jiao, he took the sleeping little guy to Shangguan Yan's place. The afternoon wind didn't have a trace of coolness. The entire Qilin Hall was like a big steamer under the scorching sun. Ice cubes in the room didn't help. But magically, the two's hearts were very calm. This was a very comfortable way to get along. In order to facilitate the two's communication, Gu Jiao's wheelchair was next to Dukan Guo's right side. She could clearly see what Dukan Guo wrote. Dukan Guo dipped his fingertips in water and wrote, "You seem to have something to say to me." Gu Jiao didn't deny it. She just decided to investigate Jing Yinin's matter, and Dukan Guo came to her. She shouldn't miss this opportunity. She turned her head to look at Dukan Guo's handsome side face and asked, "Can you tell me about Jing Yinin?" Dukan Guo couldn't move his body, but he could blink his eyes. Gu Jiao saw his eyelashes tremble slightly. He should be a little surprised. But even if he was surprised, he didn't ask Gu Jiao, "Why did you suddenly ask about Yinin?" He trusted Gu Jiao without reservation. He was willing to satisfy all her curiosity, and didn't question whether she had other purposes. He wrote, "What do you want to know about Yinin?" A father's longing for his child was infinite. If it was about Yinin, he could talk about it for 3 days and 3 nights without any details. Yes, where should I start to understand? First, IQ. Is Yinin smart? Gu Jiao asked. Of course. Dukan Guo wrote while showing an incomparably proud look. Yinin is the smartest child in the world. Nonsense. Second Master Jing's head suddenly grew out of the window. This was a guy who was lazy halfway through moving books and came back. Yinin is 2 years old and still can't speak. So stupid. Dukan Guo was so angry that his whole body trembled. He wrote in a mighty and domineering manner. Yinin could say mom when she was 1 year, 7 months, and 13 days. Gu Jiao. Sure enough, beauty was in the eye of the beholder and genius was in the eyes of the parents. Dukan Guo continued to write. Don't listen to him. Yinin is very smart. It's just that she learned it late. After she learned it, she could recite a lot of poems. No child her age could recite more than her. So, was this a competition? This didn't seem like something she would do. She hated reciting poems so much. Even if she remembered them, she wouldn't recite them. Gu Jiao imagined herself, who had the intelligence of an adult, shaking her head and competing with a row of little kids in reciting poems in a childish voice. She was so shocked that her body trembled. This was definitely not her. Yinin, is she close to your parents? Gu Jiao unconsciously omitted Jing Yinin's surname. Very close. When Dukan Guo mentioned his daughter, his eyes were gentle and doting. She's very clingy to me and her mother. She follows us everywhere. When we let her sleep by herself, she won't. She always hugs her little pillow and sneaks into our bed in the middle of the night. Gu Jiao also imagined herself saying, "My bed says it doesn't want to sleep with me today." Then she ran to Dukan Guo and his wife's room, and threw her chubby self onto their bed. This kind of childish behavior couldn't be her. Gu Jiao cleared her throat. She doesn't like to talk much, right? She also rarely calls her parents. Dukan Guo wrote, No, Yinin likes to talk a lot. She always talks about her parents. Mom eat. Dad hug. Yinin doesn't want to sleep yet. She needs a kiss before she can sleep. But Yinin is so cute. Who can bear to reject her? It was cute and cute, tilting its head to one side. Gu Jiao had goosebumps. Why was the image in her mind so clear? She was just imagining it. There was no need to be so clear, right? Dukan Guo wrote on the armrest. Yinin's mother and I always felt that having Yinin was the greatest gift from the heavens. Gu Jiao looked at the words on the armrest and suddenly fell silent. Being loved by Duke Ngwa and Xianyuanzi while growing up must be a very happy thing. Surnamed Gu. Take your daughter away. I don't want to see her again. Mom. I don't want you anymore. Don't call me mom anymore. Mom. I'll be good. I won't cry. I won't eat. Open the door. Mom. Mom, I'm so cold. It's so dark here. I'm scared. Mom. This was her childhood. This was a night that would never be redeemed. Digression. Remember to vote for the monthly ticket. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_89642686/10651460. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuga mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 769. The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. When Xiao Heng and Second Master Jing returned all the books and returned to Qilin Hall, Dukin and Gu Jiao's conversation was about to end. Second Madam had been unwell for the past few days, so Second Master Jing had to return early. He pushed his eldest brother to bid farewell to Xiao Heng and Gu Jiao. In the corridor, Xiao Heng watched the two brothers leave and sighed. Although they aren't born from the same mother, the relationship between the two brothers is still pretty good. Second Master Jing wasn't scheming and the wife he married was also gentle and virtuous. Dukin could be considered lucky to have such a younger brother and younger sister. Of course, meeting such a magnanimous older brother like Duke and was also the young couple's fortune. A united family was actually more precious than any glory, splendor, wealth and rank. Xiao Heng saw that Gu Jiao didn't say anything, so he walked into the room and saw Gu Jiao sitting in the wheelchair, quietly staring at the scene in the courtyard in a daze. Xiao Heng took an orange from the fruit bowl on the table and sat down on the stool beside her. What are you thinking about? He peeled the orange as he asked. I'm thinking about who I am. Gu Jiao said. Xiao Heng already knew that Gu Jiao wasn't the former Gu Jiao's mother. She came from a very distant place, but she never had such doubts before. Why are you suddenly asking this? Did the state preceptor say something to you? He asked. She felt something was wrong when she came back from seeing the state preceptor. Afterwards, she wanted to talk to Dukin alone. Combined with her question, Xiao Heng guessed that the state preceptor said something to her. Perhaps it was related to her origin. Gu Jiao was silent. Xiao Heng didn't force her. He smiled and handed the peeled orange to her. Actually, it's not important who you used to be. What's important is that you are you. Gu Jiao was slightly stunned. Me am I? Yes. Xiao Heng looked at her seriously with all his trust. Name, identity, appearance, body. They're all fabricated. As he spoke, he gently tapped her forehead with his slender finger. This place is the one and only reality. Gu Jiao looked at him strangely. You sound more and more like an enlightened monk. If you think about it carefully, there's a bit of zen in it. Xiao Heng sighed. Sigh, there's nothing we can do. Who asked us to raise a little monk at home? This is what they call one is marked by the company one keeps. Gu Jiao was amused by him, and ate a piece of the orange that he handed over. Is it delicious? Xiao Heng asked. Gu Jiao nodded. Delicious. Xiao Heng understood that she still had something to say. She was not a wishy-washy person. Something that could make her take the time to consider her words was definitely not a small matter. He wasn't impatient, he didn't rush her, and he didn't walk away. He just silently accompanied her. It was just like how she had accompanied him on the road to seeing the light of day again. There was no need to say more about the trust and tacit understanding between them. After Gu Jiao finished eating the last piece of orange, Xiaoheng considerately handed her a clean handkerchief. She took it and wiped her fingers. Then she said, I still have something to tell you. In fact, this is the main point I want to talk about. Most people would subconsciously distance themselves from such a serious situation. Xiaoheng did not do this. Instead, he moved the stool closer to her. Looking at her delicate profile, he said, Okay, I'm all ears. Gu Jiao glanced at him and said, It's not a good thing. It's fine if you're not all ears. Xiaoheng smiled. Then I still want to listen. Gu Jiao paused and asked, Do you know the crimes of the Xianyuan family? Xiaoheng nodded. I saw the files of the Xianyuan family in the library. It recorded dozens of serious crimes, colluding with the Great Jin dynasty, betraying the country, ceding border cities, killing loyal people, embezzling money, privately making dragon robes, starting a rebellion. The crimes of the Xianyuan family are too numerous to be recorded. Gu Jiao said, What I'm about to say is related to the Xianyuan family. Xiaoheng looked at her gently, indicating that she could rest assured and continue. Gu Jiao said seriously, I want to redress the Xianyuan family. I want to defeat the emperor of the Yan dynasty. This was not a decision she made after learning about Jing Yinin's background. It was a seed that had sprouted in her heart since a long time ago. She said to Xiaoheng, You don't have to join. The emperor of the Yan dynasty has no intention to hurt you. Even if your identity is exposed, you are still his real grandson. He will not hurt you, nor will he hurt Sheng Guanyan. Your real enemies are only the crown prince, and those who covet the throne. Those people were much easier to deal with than the emperor. The emperor was too powerful. Overthrowing his imperial power was something that even the Xianyuan family, who had millions of soldiers, couldn't do. It was too difficult for Gu Jiao to deal with him. There was almost no chance of winning. Gu Jiao could die by herself, but she didn't want to drag Xiaoheng down with her. Haven't we been doing this all the time? Xiaoheng held her hand and looked deeply into her eyes with a trace of astonishment. Sending the little monk home is not your wish alone. You're not the only one who has the privilege of risking your life for the person you love. Only you can risk your life for me, but I can't go through the fire for you. When he finished speaking, his eyes were deep, as if he was hurt by her. We are husband and wife. Do you want to leave me alone? Gu Jiao was amenable to coaxing, but not coercion. She had no resistance to this little puppy's eyes. She sat in the wheelchair in a daze and even forgot what she was going to say next. Xiaoheng sighed bitterly. Do you have no confidence in me, or in our relationship? Gu Jiao. This debate was not Gu Jiao's strong point. Fighting was her strong point. Even if she had 10 mouths, she still couldn't win against Xiaoheng. Gu Jiao scratched her fingers. But he is your grandfather. Xiaoheng said. The grandfather who slaughtered my grandmother's whole family. That's right. Gu Jiao asked. You really won't regret it. No. Xiaoheng looked at her and gently pinched her fingertips. So now, can I join you, my commander-in-chief? What kind of flirtatious tone is this? Why did the style of a serious conversation become a bit strange at the end? Gu Jiao looked at the big bear paw and rolled her eyes. I have to think about it, and review your qualifications as an ally. And me. Sheng Guanyan walked in with a crutch. Xiaoheng was planning to use his handsome man trick. But after being scared by Sheng Guanyan, he was so shocked that he directly jumped up from the stool. Mother. When did you come over? Why didn't I hear any sound? I didn't hear anything and I didn't see you do anything. I thought you knew I was coming? Sheng Guanyan whispered and came to the front of the two. She looked at Gu Jiao condescendingly and said, I also want to join. Gu Jiao looked at her. Are you sure? Sheng Guanyan looked at the blue sky outside the window. I can't be more sure. 15 years ago, I didn't have the courage I have today. After losing the Xianyuan family, my mother, and the position of the crown princess, I was like a bird stripped of its wings. I no longer had the will to fly. I wholeheartedly hoped that my 2 children could live well, but after seeing you, I found out that I was wrong, very wrong. It's not enough for a person to live. He has to live openly and above board. He doesn't have to hide and live with other people's identities. I have failed, but I hope it's not too late for me to repent. Even if she had to give up her self-esteem and destroy her pride, she would still do what she didn't have the courage to do 15 years ago. Girl, you are very powerful, Shang Guanyin said to Gu Jiao. I know, Gu Jiao said. Shang Guanyan's mouth twitched. I am already very narcissistic, but I didn't expect this girl to be even more narcissistic than me. At such a touching moment, such an unforgettable speech, my tears came out, but this girl held them back. Did my uncle and the others also feel this way before? The heavens will reincarnate, who will be spared? Shang Guanyin looked at the two. Do you have any plans? I suggest you start with the military power. 50,000 Black Wind Cavalry is far from enough, Gu Jiao said to her. 50,000 Black Wind Cavalry is just the beginning. I will take back all the military power of the Xianyuan family. Although Shang Guanyin was holding a crutch, her royal aura couldn't be underestimated. She nodded domineeringly. Very good, I'll wait and see. Then you plan your plan and I will deploy mine. Xiaoheng asked. What is mother going to do? Shang Guanyin clenched her crutch, her eyes were cold. Take back the position of the crown princess. At night, the family had dinner in Shang Guanyan's room. Little Jing Kong was cuddled in Gu Jiao's arms for a while, and then went to the yard to play with little Shi. He brought the decoction to Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao looked at the decoction thoughtfully. What's wrong? Xiaoheng asked. Gu Jiao frowned and said, I suddenly have a doubt. Xiaoheng was puzzled. What doubt? Gu Jiao said. The State Preceptor Hall provides medical treatment for all the children who participated in the selection. Fifth Master Han was seriously injured. Why wasn't he sent to the State Preceptor Hall? He was directly taken back by the Han family. Is he seriously injured? Xiaoheng didn't know about this. The Han family didn't announce Fifth Master Han's injury to the public, so he thought Fifth Master Han was only slightly injured. Gu Jiao recalled. I injured him with my own hands. At that time, he didn't even have the strength to stand up. With such a serious injury, it would be safer for him to come to the State Preceptor Hall for treatment, right? Xiaoheng frowned. If that's the case, then things are a bit strange. Gu Jiao touched her chin. Hanxie, it must have a secret. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_8964286/1064966627. HTML Genius memorized this site's address. www.zhhbqg.com Bikugo mobile version reading website. zhhbqg.com. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.